You've seen classic cars cross the stage at Barrett-Jackson, but there's no better stage for classic sports car racing than iconic Road America. After breakthrough wins at Indianapolis, Ryan Dial and Alex Popoff extended their Daytona prototype points lead, while Max Pappas and Jeff Siegel got the first win of the year for Ferrari in GT. Today, we switch gears from the Brickyard to America's Dairyland. We're halfway between Milwaukee and Green Bay, Wisconsin, sits the 4-mile ribbon of historic asphalt known as Road America. A proving ground of speed that's been challenging the world's best drivers for more than half a century. Today is crunch time in the Rolex Sports Car Series. With just 4 races left on the 2013 schedule, the time is now for teams trying to claw their way back and for those looking to extend their points lead. At a track with speeds like these, you never know what lies around the next corner. The Rolex Sports Car Series is next, live on Speed. Welcome to Speed's live coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series. It's the visitflorida.com Sports Car 250 from Road America in historic Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. It's always great to come to Road America, especially on a historic weekend such as this. Welcome, everyone. I'm Brian Till, along with Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader. And I say historic weekend because this is the first time ever that the Rolex Sports Car Series and the American Le Mans Series and their associated support series have run together on the same weekend. It is a view into the future of what United Sports Car Racing will be about in 2014. But that's the future. There's still championships to be settled this year, Calvin.
Absolutely, Brian. And right now we're in the middle of very intense championship battles in both GT and Daytona Prototype. In the Daytona Prototype ranks, it's Starworks Motorsport who have the momentum right now. They're coming off their second consecutive win at Indianapolis. Not only did they get to kiss the bricks a second time, as you can see, they're now 10 points ahead of their closest competitors in this championship, but it's still very tight. There's a lot to play for with 4 rounds still on the table. But Dorsey, this year it seems like when those big teams get the championship lead, they struggle to hang on to it this year.
Well, trouble came early for Ganassi Racing in Detroit when Memo Rojas got crashed into the wall. That car got minimum points, took them out of the lead. They gave it to the 10. SunTrust Racing, which is actually Wayne Taylor Racing now, first time they've led since June of '09. They led until they got to Indy. Of course, A.J. Allmendinger comes in, hits Max Angelelli, spins him, and the subsequent car damage takes that car out of the points. Now, with 4 races left in the championship, nobody's eliminated yet, but one thing's for sure, no time left to be throwing out races.
Yeah, plenty of stories yet to be told. Let's take a look at today's Daytona Prototype storylines. Starworks Motorsport and their new BMW engine grabbed a win at Indy and the points lead. And Ryan Dial and Alex Popoff scored their 4th podium in 5 races. So who needs to rebound?
Wayne Taylor Racing had their 2nd straight nightmare race as Max Angelelli was spun by A.J. Allmendinger whilst in contention for the win. And in the closing minutes, a brush with the speedway wall made a tough day disastrous. The hottest team in the DP paddock was the Action Express number 5 car, but they broke early at Indy, and Joao Barbosa and Christian Fittipaldi now sit more than 20 points back.
In 2nd place is Alex Gurney and John Fogerty after the '99 Gainesco Red Dragon finished 3rd at Indy. They're looking for their 2nd win of the year and the first championship since 2009. The 3-time defending series champs, Scott Pruitt and Memo Rojas, nearly won at the Brickyard with their new engine, but the 2nd place finish did score them the North American Endurance Championship.
Well, so often the spotlight shines on the big teams, Ganassi, Gainesco, Wayne Taylor Racing. But yesterday in qualifying, it shined on one of the smaller teams, Team Salins and Dane Cameron. Dane Cameron just laid down a monster lap in qualifying, gaining the team's 1st pole position of the year. This team led by Katie Crawford, really exceeding expectations for this season. I spoke with her earlier this year, and she said, we just really want a top 5 since this is our 1st year in prototype. Well, they got that at Detroit, and now they get their 1st pole of the year. With a few races left before we get to Lime Rock, they might want to reevaluate those goals for the season. And in Daytona Prototype Championship, really still just wide open, but in GT, just as exciting.
The number 44 Magnus Racing Porsche GT3 continues to lead the points. John Potter and Andy Lally racking up podium after podium despite 0 wins in 2013.
John Edwards and Rob Liddell nearly made it 5 wins in 6 races at Indy, but ended up 2nd, which is where they sit in the points, just 4 back.
Alessandro Balzan has slipped down to third in points in the number 63 car, but 3 Ferraris finished in the top 5 at Indy, including the 69 car in 4th. And for the first win for Ferrari, Max Pappas and Jeff Siegel got to kiss the bricks in the Ramo Ferri AIM Motorsport 458.
Stevenson Motorsports may lead the GT category with 4 wins this season, but they have been incredibly inconsistent. They also have 3 finishes that are either 10th or worse, and today is going to be another uphill battle. They actually qualified the car in the 4th best time on the grid, but they did not pass technical inspection following qualifying. They will have to start at the back of the pack. The team, though, they say they are up for the challenge, which is great because they are sandwiched in the points championship, only 4 points back from Magnus Racing, only 5 points ahead of Scuderia. And today, every position they can make up is going to matter.
We'll take a look at the starting grid in the hat at the top of the stream. And what you see now is a shot from the pace car looking backwards, pacing the field. Daytona prototypes up front, then a very small gap to the GT field. And right now, very, very slow start. Waiting, climbing the hill, looking for green, and we're racing at Road America.
Look at Rojas in the 01 car. He follows Dane Cameron. 2 BMW powered cars going to the front.
Move to the inside. That's very defensive. Good way to start the race.
Look at Fittipaldi. He's looking for a way on the inside as well. Red Dragon tucks into 5th.
Good stuff in Daytona prototypes, and right behind the GT cars are on it, and the Ferrari leads to turn 1.
That's Lee Keane, surprise pole sitter here yesterday. Qualifying was cut short a little bit. Not everyone got their laps in, but nonetheless a brilliant pole position.
Dane Cameron right now leading over the 01. Rojas tucked in underneath, and then the 10 of Jordan Taylor. That's the top 3, and then the GT cars streaming down towards turn 5, the first of the heavy braking zones.
This is uncharacteristically clean as they break for turn 5. I'm really surprised we didn't have more side-by-side action. Tire temperatures are not there near their tire pressures yet.
On board with Enzo Podolicchio. They've been struggling with the handling on this race car. Last night they found out that their setup pad was incorrect, giving them bad information. They've straightened that out. They're hoping for better things here today come the race.
Cameron absolutely spectacular in the Salins. The Riley with the BMW power plant. But interesting to note, remember, it is the year-old BMW power plant right behind him in the 01, that new 4.5-liter BMW.
Yeah, it's 4.5 liter. It got pegged back a little bit, though, since Indianapolis, Brian. It's got 150 less RPM. It's the 5-liter that leads from the 4.5 right now.
Doesn't surprise me the 5-liter, the older engine would be really better here because of the hills. This racetrack, 3 very big hills you have to climb. The 5-liter gives it a little bit more torque to get up those long hills.
Dane Cameron typically doesn't qualify this race car, but what an opportunity, and he grabbed it with both hands, sitting that car on the pole position as we see the second Salins machine in the picture right now.
Number 4, not really looking that strong on the line into the corner there at Canada Corner. Amelia DeGita behind the wheel. Not that experienced in prototype machinery, but still holding on to the back of the pack. And Dane Cameron will lead lap number 1 here at Road America, and he leads it convincingly.
He opens up a good lead at Road America. Like I said, climbing these hills should be the forte of that 5-liter. Only a couple of these BMW engines are at the 4.5 category, though.
So it's BMW, 3 Chevys. Yakima has got around Alex Popoff, the championship leader with Ford power. He runs in 6th.
We might as well go ahead and start to talk about fuel mileage. It will be important here. It always is. And with Chevrolet power plants, Ford power plants, and 2 different configurations of BMW, who will have the mileage to make it?
Well, with that new 4.5 liter, it gets a 6-speed door, so it runs at 8,050 RPM. It burns fuel. Talking to the Ganassi group, they're saying we're getting 7% less fuel here at Road America. That is significant. That's 1 to 2 laps less. You cannot afford to cut it too close here. It's a 4-mile lap. You've got to get that fuel mileage consumption absolutely spot on.
Jimmy Keane, who runs this team and that 4.5-liter engine, he's going to have to take advantage of everything he can to get that extra 7% of fuel economy. He won't get it back, but he can strategically work his way around it.
The 42 has led at least 1 lap in each of the last 4 races, and right now Dane Cameron having a great run. I think it's good strategy. They've got to make 2 pit stops anyway. They could stop, put Wayne Nonamaker in, and then on the next stop, put Dane back into to finish. I think it's great strategy for this team.
Yeah, talking to the team yesterday, they were very bullish. They said, we are the only team in Grand Am history who've had a pole position in GT and DP, but also in the Continental type series with the GS and ST class as well. So it's kind of history that they made here yesterday, but they said, we like the fact we're going to have Dane fresh at the end. Typically, you're double stinting, your finishing driver. Dane should be good to go, and see that checkered flag.
Lee Keen continuing to lead in the 63. Good to see him in the series and using every bit of road at the exit of the kink. Right behind him, Patrick Lindsay in the 73, Park Place Motorsports. They are having a great weekend and been very quick all weekend long throughout the practice sessions, Chris.
Yeah, Brian, you know, typically we see Lee Keen. He's been in this series for quite a few years, working with Brumos Racing and their Porsche. Well, I talked to him this week, and he said he's really disappointed that he hasn't been here for a while, and he thought when he got this call from this Ferrari team that he was going to get the opportunity for this ride. He said, this is a great opportunity for me because I love this series. I want to be back in it. And when the team went away, when Brumos went away, I thought my time in the Rolex Series was done. So now he's looking to shine and hopefully stay with that Ferrari team for not just this year, but next year too.
Well, it's a great fit for the team as well, Chris, because they haven't run all of these racetracks. Alessandro Balzan is the highest placed Ferrari driver in this championship right now, sits in third, but they were visiting racetracks for the first time. They had two relatively inexperienced drivers with these circuits. Lee King gives them that source of information, Dorsey. That's a big plus for them.
It's a huge plus in getting the car right. And hats off right there to the 94 Turner BMW. Paul Dalla set everybody on fire. A great qualifying he did do to get that car up there, second place.
But right in front of Dalla Lana, the 61 Ferrari, and a new driver in that car this weekend. Max Pappas doing NASCAR duty, so Kenny Wilden is filling in the 61 and having a good run of it. But right now, he's got a mirror full of yellow BMW with Paul Dalla Lana behind the wheel. It's Dane Cameron leading from the pole, early going from here at Road America. Still plenty to come live right here on Speed. Make sure you stay with us. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is presented on Speed by Rolex. Brought to you in part by Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. Welcome back to Road America. 2 hours and 37 minutes left to go. Still a long way to go, and you can be a part of the conversation. Join us on Twitter. You can reach out to all of us. We'll show you our Twitter handles there, and we'll be glad to try to get back to you as much as we can. Dorsey, on the other hand, struggles sometimes to use modern technology, so he could have a problem, but he will use a satellite and Google Earth to give us a view of Road America. What a great racetrack, Dorsey.
It is. You can find Road America drop down from outer space just north of Milwaukee in the beautiful town of Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Longest permanent circuit in the United States. 4 miles in length, a little over, as you can see. 14 turns. This is a daunting place. 3 straightaways per lap will put you into 174 mile per hour. And the brake zones, guys, are really tough. Those corners, the carousel, the kink, the Canada corner, probably the scariest corners that any of us have ever been around.
I'll agree with that 1,000,000%. It really sorts the men from the boys. But Cameron, what a power performance he's putting on here. His best time, the last lap, a 2:01.8. Rojas and company, 2:02.5 and 2:02.6. So he has 7/10 of a second on the rest of the field right now. Dominant.
And there's the 5-pack of onboard cameras we'll bring you today. 3 from the Daytona prototypes and 1 from the Ferrari and the 70 Mazda in GX. Cameron is beginning to pull away from Rojas. Impressive stuff.
One thing he was really concerned about in the early runs here on the practice days, they got a lot of tire degradation. You got a lot of right-hand high G-load corners, particularly the carousel. It really loads the right-hand side, and if you've got an imbalance in the race car, they had a little bit of oversteer in the car. You can see it there, a little bit twitchy coming through turn 7. But he said we were losing the left rear tire pretty early in the run, so it'll be interesting to see as they get about 8-10 laps on whether he can maintain this pace that he's running right now.
Jordan Taylor running 3rd. Having a decent run. He's hanging there, Chris, but he's not making ground.
Yeah, he's trying to track down Memo Rojas in the 01 right now. And Calvin, what you were just saying about tire degradation, that's exactly what Tim Keen was telling Memo. Hey, that's the pace we want to run. We want to keep those tires underneath us. Let that 42 car run away from us. We're not racing them. We got to go back and remember that they're going to be on a different pit strategy because they're starting Dane and they're going to finish Dane. So Tim Keen saying, we are not racing that car right now and just go the pace that we set early on, and that's what he's doing.
Well, Road America, it's long, it's fast, but it's got some tight corners, and when it comes to competition, you can get together. We saw that, the number 18, Tim Bergmeister, in the white and blue Porsche, getting together with the 93 BMW of Michael Marsal.
That was a little bit ugly.
Yeah, that was a whole lot ugly coming out of turn 5 where you have plenty of room to go up that hill as many forward. I've done it before, so that was not working together.
Tim Bergmeister returning to racing action after a massive crash that he had at Fuji last year, so it's great to see him back racing again. So life-threatening injuries that he went through and survived, so it's great to see him back. And of course, he's the brother of Jörg Bergmeister, who we've seen here in Rolex competition for many years.
And speaking of brothers, there's a pretty famous brother combination that shows up to a lot of races in the Rolex Sports Car Series, and one of those famous drivers is down on pit road with Chris.
Yeah, Dario Franchitti not driving anything this weekend, just cheering on his Chip Ganassi teammates. Is it tough for you to sit here and watch this, or do you really want to be out there?
It was all right until they started singing the national anthem. Then I got kind of all carried away and wanted to be in the car there. But no, just supporting these guys today, and then obviously Marino tomorrow in the level 5 car. So having fun as a spectator, and with both the Grand Am and the LMS for this weekend at Road America, one of my favorite tracks. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, you at Road America not having any responsibility to drive kind of scares me. You gonna get some trouble tonight? Yeah, I ended up last night having a few beers with Mr. Hobbs, so yeah, anything's possible. But as I say, got a weekend off, so having some good fun. Good to see you out here, Dario.
Mr. Hobbs having a few beers.
Well, I think everyone agrees this is not only one of the best racetracks, but one of the best venues. There's so much fun to be had in Elkhart Lake on the weekends, and I think we've all certainly had our times, Dawes.
Yeah, and you heard Dario just say that, you know, this is one of his favorite racetracks. It's everybody's favorite racetrack. Europeans love it because it reminds you of being in Europe. It's got great food. The scenery here is beautiful. Then there's Siebkens down the road where everybody ends up at night for the good time, and I'm sure Mr. Hobbs did a fair share last night.
Probably slept at the bar for about 10 minutes.
Understand that Bert Frizzell in the 9 had a flat spot. They'll get that taken care of. Meanwhile, Dane Cameron continuing to have a good run, Jamie.
I talked to Katie Crawford, Dane's engineer, right after qualifying. She said, I am so happy that that worked. Why? Because they made some big wholesale changes going into qualifying, particularly with the geometry. She said, we haven't been able to test it all this season. These are things that you would normally do in testing. They weren't sure if it was going to work. Clearly it did. He's being able to maintain the pace even now during the race. But she said the biggest thing that we have to work on today is going to be our pit stops. At Indy, they lost 6 to 8 seconds on every single pit stop. So the team, they've been hard at work practicing. We'll see how that unfolds when we get to the first round of stops.
Oh, scary things here. Amelia De Guida in the number 4, the 8-star Corvette. One of the two has spun at the exit of Canada corner. The scary thing about it is a blind corner for the traffic coming down one of the fastest straightaways on the racetrack. You exit that corner, and De Guida was right there, managed to keep the engine running. Good for him, and has gotten out of harm's way.
Yeah, and let's take a look and see what happened to him. There's been a bit of a change of plan here. De Guida starting instead of Sebastian Bourdais. Here he gets in really late on the brakes. Scott Mayer just turns across him, and I think he just jumps on the gas pedal a little bit too early. So a couple of cars spin there yesterday in qualifying, so there's not a lot of grip there. It's a tricky corner, the way the pavement is laid there, coming out of Canada corner, Dorsey. It can catch you out.
Go on board here, and you can see this is the carousel. Watch how long you have to turn right here. You're grinding the left front tire. You're trying to work the throttle. That's putting heat in the left rear, and you're trying to be on and off as smooth as you can.
Look at the traffic. Look at the traffic. Going to catch the 99. He slips by on the right, and Jackman with a brave move.
Beautiful.
Takes the position, uses traffic to get the job done.
He read that perfectly, but he was brave as well, and he pulled it off. A great move by Gustavo Jackman.
That's very, very fast through there, and it leads down to the kink, which is in these cars pretty near to flat out. But it is absolutely daunting in as much as if you make a mistake, it's a huge crash down there. Take a look at this.
Just different classes racing together. This is one of the Mazda GX machines. Doesn't have the speed, of course, of the Daytona prototypes. Jackman was coming, got to the inside, and took the position at the kink. This is what multi-class racing is all about. It's going to create these situations all day long.
And if any of those cars right there touched one another, all three three of them would have been flying.
It was going to get ugly, and for Tristan Nunez in the 00, the GX Mazda, you know he was trying to make that thing as skinny as he could. He knew there was a Daytona prototype coming by on each side.
If you're in the underclass car, or the car that's not in the fastest class, that's the worst thing that can happen to you, is to have somebody come around you on both sides. It makes the car get really upset and really easy to wreck.
The Rolex Sports Car Series from Road America. Just the third year that they've run here, but the racing has been great. It is this year as well. Dane Cameron leading overall. Lee Keen having a good run in GT. Tonight, Barrett-Jackson, the one and only collector car auction continues. See the most amazing cars all up for grabs and all in one place. Live Barrett-Jackson coverage from Reno continues tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. Ride on board the number 70, the leader in GX, Sky Active diesel technology. Tom Long behind the wheel.
We call it the Mazda 6, and they're going for 6 straight. They've had 5 consecutive victories after a difficult start to the year, just really working out the development of this car. And hats off to those guys in terms of going racing with a car that wasn't fully tested, but right now they're reaping the benefits of that investment.
When you think about the diesel technology, a huge gamble by Mazda to head in that direction. Yes, diesels have been around.
Big
problem in the game.
That's a
Rojas is off.
And that's at a high-speed part of the racetrack.
He may got away with it, boys. I mean, there's damage to the rear clip there, but look at the suspension and everything looks okay. Wow.
You don't ever get a spin down there and get away with
there. Twitch there. Maybe something's amiss with the suspension.
He could be twitching inside the car.
I guarantee you.
You don't go off at the kink and not have it rattle your nerves.
It's nearly
twitching in his underpants right now.
Tell him to stay out, too. Watch here.
Oh, he's just wide.
Yeah, he's
just wide.
Let's see.
Oh,
he got really, really lucky.
Incredibly lucky.
And he makes just light contact to driver's left on the right rear.
And you can see the potential there for what happens in those spins, because you usually don't get that corrected, don't end up in the middle of the track. You hit the guardrail and you bounce from one side to the other. He barely did hit anything hard.
And
he has got to be shaken, but
he stayed out
right now.
No, they told him stay out. They told him stay out. Timmy Keen.
Just watch, he's just wide.
Yeah, now here's where it goes good for him.
And this is where it's about to get bad.
He saved it enough to get it. See, he scrapes along the wall there with the rear wing. Not bad. And here he's got it locked down just like you're supposed to, and just averts going hard into that barrier. He did hit it.
I don't think the main element even took a severe hit, so the rear wing itself is probably okay. It's those rear bodywork clips right behind the rear wheels.
And the rear winglet that runs along to where the gurney goes.
Let's check in with Chris down at Ganassi.
Yeah, Tim Keen has been on the radio with Memo Rojas, also has seen the replays. What did Memo say about what happened there?
He didn't say what happened. We just heard control say that 0-1 car's off. Then we happened to see your replay there, and you know, he never told us what had happened. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, we've had fast race cars for weeks now, and just mistakes. We can't get it done for some reason. I don't know why.
And it looks like a little bit of bodywork damage there. Is he saying there's any problem with the race car?
He said it feels fine, so during the pit stop, I think we're just going to cut that piece off rather than try and replace it, because that'll take too much time. So I said it's just frustrating to have such fast cars every week, and we're blowing it.
Well, they've got that new motor, boys, and it's given them the pep in their step to get the victories. I mean, if you think back to Indianapolis, Scott Pruitt was in contention for the win, and he had a rare lapse there, doors. He had a quick spin by himself, dropped way down the order. They came back to finish second. So I think that's what was frustrating Timmy Keen. We've got the tools right now. We're just not getting the job done.
Kevin, it's what I talked about at the opening of the show. With 4 races to go, you cannot make these kind of mistakes. I mean, that could have been a lot worse than it is. Okay, I'll give you that. But these are really good cars right now, and to have one this early in the race put in jeopardy is just not what you want.
But this racetrack is one that demands the car be just right, and I can tell you right now, the back of the 0-1 is not right. That splitter across the back is not level. It's going to be a handful. We saw the 99 with a great battle with Gustavo Jacquemin. For more on the Gainesco team, let's go down to Jamie.
Well, Gainesco sits third in the Drivers' Championship, but they also are coming off of a third-place finish at Indy. John Fogerty said early in the week that the car wasn't quite there yet. Alex, what has he said on the radios in the early stages of the race?
Actually, he just came on and said it was a little bit loose, so we might make a gurney change on the next stop. But we'll see. He's still got some room to play with his roll bars. Anyway, we're doing okay. It looks like the 01 had some trouble, and so we're going to try and stay out of trouble the rest of the day and see where we end up.
When you have to stay out of trouble for championship points, how much do you hold back? How aggressive do you get?
You don't hold back much, but maybe a percent or two, I think.
All right, thank you.
That's the first time I heard a gurney talk about a gurney change.
Yeah, there are going to be two gurney changes at the next pit stop.
Of course, the gurney change, what he's talking about is a little winglet at the very top of the wing that his father, Dan Gurney, invented. And it adds a lot of rear downforce without adding a lot of drag, and all race cars use a gurney flap.
Just holds that air on the profile of the rear wing a little bit longer and creates that downforce, which is really like an upside down airplane wing. Instead of giving lift, it's pushing you onto the floor, giving you the grip and the cornering ability.
But when you change it, you may only change it a 32nd of an inch or so at a time, and that's what I was saying about the 01. If the back end of these cars is that sensitive, there is a spoiler lip down below the wing, and you could see on the 01 when we were looking at it earlier, it's no longer level. It's been moved out of the airstream, and that could cause a loss of several hundred pounds of downforce to the back end of the car. You don't want that. It was already upset through the kink before.
The good thing is that Scott Pruitt likes a free race car. He can run a car with less downforce than Memo Rojas typically. So I'm not saying it's going to be ideal for him, but if anyone can hang on to it, Scott Pruitt is probably the guy, because he likes that balance in the race car. Some guys like understeer to go quick. Some guys like the car a little bit loose.
Christian Fittipaldi bringing the number 5 Action Express Corvette into pit lane.
This could be a strategy playing how you break up this race in terms of fuel, but we'll have to wait and see. Had 2 suspension failures with both cars at Indianapolis, and Joao Barbosa also had a suspension problem yesterday. Something in the steering linkage let go going down into turn 5, and he clouded the Armco barrier.
Looks like a routine stop. No one doing any work on the car other than 4 Continental tires and fuel. Didn't see a change on the rear wing. You may be right, Calvin.
I think they may be just splitting it up. Could do 2 more stops the rest of the way. With the length of this lap, when you make a stop right now, you're going to stay on the lead lap. So if there's a yellow comes out, you're going to be in prime position at that point.
I just saw the flat spot. I just saw the left front flat spot when that tire carrier was carrying the tire away, and that's what happened right there.
But so it's okay. They can now utilize this strategy. They've done it many times this year. They're not afraid of shaking things up a little bit. I think it could still come out their way.
Well, and especially with a long lap like you have here at Road America. It's 4 miles around, a 2-minute lap. You've got the time. If you want to make that change, come in, get it done now. You're not going to lose the lap, and a yellow will bring you right back to the fight.
And the other side of that coin is what you saw Timmy Keene do with Memo Rojas when he sent him back around again. What that allowed him to do is take a look at the car a little bit more closely, both from what we were showing, plus as it went by on the pits, and to use his mind for that lap, for that couple minutes to make that decision be the right one.
Lee Keene having a good run leading in GT. There's the top 3 in GT, right nose to tail. And they too will need to be taking care of their tires, Chris.
Well, we just saw the 5 car, Christian Fittipaldi, come to pit lane, and this is the left front that came off that car, and you can see this massive flat spot right here. The cords of the tire really showing through. So obviously this team's race gonna have to try a little bit different strategy at this point in time, and we'll talk to Elton Sawyer about that. And Elton, obviously you didn't want to have to come in and do that tire change because of that flat spot, but is there enough time to re-strategize and get that 5 car back in the race?
Well, we'll have to look at it, Chris, but you know, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We'll battle through it.
Yeah, the team has just had so much speed this year, and you guys are really in the thick of this championship, so obviously you can't have a bad race today.
Well, you know, it kind of, again, it is what it is. We just need to go out and execute. That's all we need to do.
All right, good luck.
I think they can turn this around, though, because they're talking about 45-minute stints for fuel. You look at the clock right now, that equates to about 3 times 45-minute run. So 2 more starts for those guys. But speaking to Christian Fittipaldi yesterday about that suspension breakage at Indy, remember they had so much momentum, 2 wins and a 2nd place. He said it was like someone threw cold water over the top of our fire that we had lit.
There's the battle in GT. It's the top 3, and you can put the proverbial blanket over the top. Ferrari, Porsche, Ferrari. Can the Prancing Horse win 2 in a row? There's a look at the leaders in the 3 different classes. We'll be back to more from Road America right after this. Round 9 of the Rolex Sports Car Series for 2013 continues from Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Season winding down, and if you're going to make that championship run, you got to get it done now. If you're on top of the charts, you want to hold on as tight as you can. Alex Popoff, Ryan Dial lead the Daytona Prototype Drivers Championship. They're running 6th right now. So having a good run, staying in contention with the leaders up front. Still a long way to go. 2 hours and 15 minutes. Anything can happen, but you want to stay close. And talk about guys that are on a run and having a good run. The 57 Stevenson, that Camaro qualified well. Jamie spoke of it early. Had to start at the back, and they have already worked their way back up to 4th. A great run for Stevenson, Chris.
Yeah, the team a bit handicapped this weekend as Mike Johnson broke his foot at Indianapolis just 2 weeks ago. And Mike Johnson typically helps out the team during driver changes. Mike, it's really been a tale of 2 seasons for you guys. 4 wins, but also 3 finishes outside the top 10. You're 4 points back in the championship, 4 races to go. What do you guys need to do?
Right now, we just need consistency. I think if we stay consistent and do everything that we know how to do, we should be in pretty good shape. I mean, Andy's a tough competitor, and we got the 63 car right behind us as well. So we just need good, consistent finishes. I mean, even right now, we're not putting a lot of pressure on John to try to make some passes. Just get up to the front and use our strengths to hopefully get back up top.
Yeah, and that's where he's getting to right now. They have to start at the back of the pack today because of a ride height issue, but right now running the top 4. Jamie?
Well, Jeff Siegel and Max Pappas found themselves at the top step of the podium at Indy, but with Max and his NASCAR commitments this weekend, Jeff, you have a new co-driver this weekend in Kenny Wilden. What's it been like getting up to speed so far?
It's fantastic. I mean, Kenny's been around for a long time. He's a real pro. So, you know, being Canadian, I think it was a natural fit for the R-Ferrier Motorsport team. You know, he hasn't gotten many laps this weekend, but he's doing a great job, currently holding it down in 3rd place. And, you know, he's given us really good input about the car, trying to help make it a little bit faster for when I get in. It's just going really great. So hopefully we can keep up this pressure on the leaders and maybe try and go 2 for 2.
Now, just a moment ago, Ian Willis walked over here. He delivered some good news to you. I saw you give him 2 thumbs up. What did he say?
Yeah, I mean, that's the type of thing you get with a driver like Kenny is, you know, as he's driving around and sort of figuring stuff out with the track, he's relaying that back and giving that info to me. So he thinks he found something in terms of an area of the track where he can pick up a little bit of grip and try not to use those rear tires so much. So I'll take whatever I can get.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was one of the things Jeff talked about it there, rear tires, and the Ferrari boys are saying we're having to trim out these cars so much to be competitive down the long straightaways here. They've always felt all season long that they don't have the straightaway power to compete with some of the other marques, that we're running the car really trim. That means that we don't have the grip and the tire degradation is a lot higher. Now we're seeing a driver change here. Sebastian Bourdais, who was supposed to start this race, he qualified the car. Then they determined they're going to want to change their driver lineup. They had to forgive their qualifying position, started at the back, so De Guida is out. Sebastian Bourdais, who has won here in Champ Car, in fact, finished on the podium 4 times over the years. He's another one of those drivers who loves Road America, Dorsey.
Yeah, he'll get around here really well, and we see more and more cars now coming to pit lane. You know, I think some of these guys are playing it conservative. If they got to do a driver change, this is a good time to do it. Also, tires. I want to look at those tires and see how bad they're wearing.
Enzo Padalicchio in the number 3, the team car. He'll climb out. There'll be a driver change done here. Impressed with this team, impressed with the organization that Enzo has built.
Well, really, they've had 2 superb finishes, runner-up finishes at Mid-Ohio and Watkins Glen. Lost their way a little bit at Indy with a low downforce setup. Came here, felt, well, we're running low downforce. We're not competitive again. But as I mentioned earlier, had a problem with the setup pad, but they look like they're trying to rebound here today. Turner in the pits, Jamie.
Number 93 came in. Michael Marsal got out of the car, handing duties over to Maxime Martin, who has never raced here. He does know the team as he raced with them this year at the 24 Hours of Daytona, but he's trying to get some extra track time before the American Le Mans Series race tomorrow. Talked to Maxime. He said he's really looking forward to a race here at Road America. It's a beautiful track, beautiful part of the country. Driver change taking a little bit longer than it should. Door now shut. Chris?
Pat Long down watching his teammate running in 2nd place right now. And Pat, this has been a year that we haven't seen a Porsche win yet, but you guys are getting very close to doing that. Why has the Porsche been a little bit uncompetitive this year?
Wow, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. We've been trying to evolve with the car. It's pretty long in the tooth. The 997 at this generation's been around for a while. Some of the GT3 cars that have come in, like the Ferrari, have really pushed the envelope. And then you've got the two-frame cars, but we've just been trying to focus on our own program. The Smart Place guy, these guys are new at it. And, you know, the Horton guys have been really getting everybody up to speed, but we thought we had one in the bag at Indy. We were on the right fuel strategy. We had just passed the 61 car, and we're really just conserving, and we lost a gear linkage. So a little bit of redemption here. We hope we can get it either here at Road America or at Kansas next weekend.
Yeah, talking with his teammate earlier this weekend, he said this team has really made so many improvements over the season. The biggest thing is they're now unloading on Thursday very fast.
Well, much like 8-Star Motorsports, Park Place building a great program. Patrick Lindsay started building that last year, and they've done a super job. You see the two in the 01 going at it, and you see some damage in the nose of the two. I wonder how that happened.
Well, let's take a look at a replay here. Memo Rojas responds and gets that position back. Remember, these are two BMW power-planted teams. They're going for a manufacturer's championship as well as driver's championship, so they need to play together a little bit better. Not put too much on the line. Popoff is off.
He gets a radiator full of grass. He's going to have to come in for a pit stop for that one. I don't see any damage other than that, but it probably will necessitate to get in.
He'll have to come in.
Take a look at this, guys. This is a lap before.
So they get into each other in the straightaway a little bit, and then Popoff behind in the braking zone. And
yeah, just runs up on Memo a little bit. It looked like from that angle, hard to tell, but we saw a little bit of damage there. So have to assume that he did get into the back of Rojas.
Yeah, you can see it on the nose, the tire mark.
They've got to be smart. They need to bring him in now. There's a championship on the line. Remember, they are leading in the championship. If that grass does not come off, and I don't know why it would, it's going to have 150+ mile-an-hour breeze holding it in that screen. That power plant will overheat. Yep, there you go.
Stefan Pfeiffer on the radio. Here's a better look at it. Just gets in there really deep on the dirty part of the racetrack. He just can't get it wound down.
And he hits exactly where that car was hurt from before. Didn't do it any favors.
Yeah, that's not the problem. The problem was the off in turn 7 and the radiator. He'll need to come to pit road. We heard it on the radio saying you're going to need to do that. Damage already done to the back of the 01, so I'm not sure that there was any more damage done after that contact.
No, I don't think it was.
Good news is they're past the 30-minute mark where Alex will get driver points today, so you'll expect to see Ryan Dial get in and finish this race out.
And they're going to switch this nose out, too. They just hurt him.
Oh, you can see some pretty good damage on the nose here. Got a hole right in the front of the nose. Quite a bit of grass up there. Looking around the rest of the car. Looks pretty good. Alex Popoff handing over to Ryan Dial. And talking to these two drivers about leading the championship, they both said, hey, we just got to make right decisions. We got to stay out of everybody else's little battles right now and just do what we've been doing all year. Be really consistent. This car a little bit loose out there as the team goes with a little bit taller gurney on the rear wing.
Surprise. And or at least put some bare bond.
Yes, they talked about
patch over it.
That big hole in the nose, that extra hole is going to make a lot of downforce go away. It's going to make the car push or understeer.
Also going to make it very draggy in a straight line.
Here's another look at it once again. They're on the dirty part of the racetrack. Rojas is down to the inside just trying to get through the corner safely, and Popoff just can't get it slowed down quickly enough. Remember, Rojas's car is damaged, so he may not have the braking ability that he's typically used to getting. And then we see up in turn 7. That's quite a ride there.
You think he just got up underneath the back of Rojas and lost the downforce?
That turn 7 is an off-camber corner. It always drops away at the exit, so you pick up understeer. He's got a hole in the nose that makes that worse, and he was up underneath someone else, which also takes away the front arrow.
Championship implications as long as this lap is. Surprised they didn't do the patch on the front or change that front nose because it's early in the weekend. Plenty of time to get it done. Popoff just climbing out of the 2. Let's hear from him, Chris.
Yeah, Alex Popoff got his helmet off, went over and talked to Peter Barron. Alex, what happened on the racetrack there?
Oh, the race was hard. The car was handling not very good. It was very loose. I got in the back straight. Memo passed me. He just sent me out to the gravel. As soon as I tried to brake, there was no grip, and I just stepped on the brake, and I was locked until I barely touched him. I'm glad I didn't take him out, but it was hard. it was nothing on purpose. You know, Memo's a good friend of mine. It was just hard racing.
You got a big hole right in the middle of the nose. Also, the team made a big wicker change at the back of the car. Obviously, the two not handling that well today.
Yeah, the car was not pretty good, and the back was sliding too much, and hope to make it good and hope to bring it back with a good result.
Yeah, these guys need a good result to maintain that points lead.
I think Peter Barron just got the word that there's a filled black to the two car, basically a warning for avoidable contact. Didn't take anyone out, but they probably won't get another pass today, so they just got to be careful. They're championship leaders. You got to make the right calls.
You get that black flag and they roll it around the stick and they point it at you, and it's like your mother shaking her finger at you saying you've been a very bad boy. No harm, no foul. Dane Cameron continues to lead. Lee Keene in GT and Tristan Nunez, the youngster, leading in GX from Road America. With just over 2 hours remaining, pit stops happening here at Road America, the visitflorida.com Sports Car 250, the Rolex Sports Car Series. Justin Wilson climbing in the number 6 from Michael Shank Racing. Gustavo Jacquemin having a good run, and now the 01 is in, and you can see the damage to the back. Chris?
Yeah, quite a bit of damage to the left rear valance here. And oh, that spoiler in the right rear corner. Also, boy, this car's just got to be a handful. We're going to watch and see what the team's doing here. Timmy Keene talking about the team making mistakes. Memo Rojas slipping from 2nd all the way back to 6th because of that spin. And Scott Pruitt had that very unusual spin at Indy. I talked to him about that, and he said, you know what? It was just a mistake. But this team finishing up 4 tires, 4 Continental tires, and then a little bit of bare bond on the left rear corner.
You see how close that was? Both exhaust pipe tips have been scraped away.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
it was as close as it gets, Dorsey.
Yeah.
That was nearly a huge one. When he was pointing at the right side wall, when he lost it, that was going to be a huge impact.
Yeah,
Here we see John Edwards jumping out. He's a man who's doing triple duty here this weekend with the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series and ALMS duties here tomorrow.
He's come from last all the way to 4th in GT and was making ground on the field. He's really one of the quickest cars out there.
Well, you know, the good thing is with several of these drivers doing double and triple duty, it is a nice, cool weekend up here. It can be brutally hot in Wisconsin in the summertime. That's going to give these guys plenty of track time, and they're going to get it sorted out. Now 42, Dane Cameron after a great run on pit lane.
We know that this will be the first driver change for the number 42. Dane Cameron out, Wayne Nunemaker now in. They will do another change later so that Dane Cameron will also finish this race. Remember I said earlier, Katie Crawford telling me the team lost 6 to 8 seconds on each pit stop in the last race at Indy. So far this team is going really well. The driver change was extremely fast as well as the tires. The fuel though taking much longer than it really should. Chris?
Well, Max Angelelli taking over for Jordan Taylor in the 10 car, running second when Jordan Taylor came in. This car looking pretty good, but one of the exhaust pipes, the right rear exhaust pipe, hanging a little bit lower than the left rear. So, guys, you might want to keep an eye on that throughout this race.
Some more action on pit lane. Gainesco team are in Spirit of Daytona.
That looks pretty typical. Nice stop.
Saw it a bit late. I'm not sure if they did change that rear gurney. Talking about balance in the race car.
It's a quick change when it's done. There's just a little
fuel going in.
A little lever on one side. It slides out of a channel. They can slide the other one back in. You see them, there's the 90.
Be curious to see the gap between the 42 and the 10 after this round of pit stops. One of the things that the 42 team, the Salins team, been working on is getting the fuel in the car quicker. They say they're about a 4-second disadvantage to guys like the 10 team who really seem to be on their game. So hopefully that didn't affect them too bad this turnaround.
Now your leader in GT is in.
Yeah, Lee Keene staying behind the wheel of this Ferrari. So just going to do fuel and tires on this stop. Listening to him on the radio, he's very happy with the balance. He said, guys, this car is just beautiful to drive. I'm having a blast running up front.
Boy, it's neat when you're at a racetrack like this and you have a car that's doing what it's supposed to. It is truly a fun place to drive here.
Well, the balance of the Ferrari is its strong suit. Very well balanced. It is usually very good on tires. We talked about the long right-hand corners can wear here. They just wish they had a little more straight line speed. Jamie.
Well, it's fuel and tires only for the number 61 as well. So Kenny Wilden, clearly the team pretty happy with the job that he's doing. They have kept him in the car. Jeff Siegel, big high fives all the way around down here. They're very happy with that pit stop.
That was a great pit stop. That was a great pit stop.
Yeah, they picked up position on that. Kenny doing a great job in that car too, no doubt about it. But he has been in everything. That guy has driven every kind of car, GT car there is to drive doing a solid job.
Something that Ian Willis and the boys have really been working on hard, Brian, is getting those pit stops as efficient as possible, because that is the result that you see right there. You can change track position by getting your boys working and getting the job done on pit lane.
Now the 43, the team car to the 42 in. Joe Nonamaker climbing out. It's not as quick a driver change as we saw on the 42. I think that was safe to say.
Yeah, I mean, these are Pro-Am drivers. They're here having a lot of fun. They certainly want to be competitive, but they don't expect to run at the same pace as the sister car with Wayne and Dane competing. But, you know, Joe Salins isn't here this weekend, but there's just Joe and Will Nonamaker doing their thing, and they're having a great time. And they're improving their performance, too. They're a little frustrated by the lag of track time that they've had in terms of testing this year, but they're improving, and they're getting used to a high downforce car. And Will told me yesterday that is a totally different deal to what they've been used to in GT.
And talking to him about testing the car, and Joe said the same thing. He said, I love it. I realize I'm not fast, but I'm having fun, and we're getting quicker every time we go out. And you know what? For guys like that, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun.
And they work hard at it. They got shifter carts. They go out and work hard on their driving skills and all the video games and the simulators and everything. They're working at it. They're not just cruising around. They're trying to increase their performance.
Justin Wilson trying to put pressure on Alex Gurney. We talk about how great this racetrack is. It can jump up and bite you. It almost bit Memo Rojas big time, Chris.
Yeah, Memo Rojas has had a chance to cool off. Memo, we saw that spin on the back straightaway there. What happened?
Well, we were starting to lose grip gradually on the rear tires. It was getting worse as we ran, and it just suddenly, you know, it slipped away from me. I got the rear a little bit. We got a tank slapper and got it sideways entering the kink, and we were lucky we were able to keep the car spinning in a straight line, and I don't think we touched the wall. I'm not sure. Car's in good shape with new tires. It's just too loose with old tires. And, you know, we just did a wicker adjustment. Hopefully it will help Scott.
And we saw the contact with the 2 car, the exhaust system on the 01. Everything okay there?
I mean, yeah, he hit me from behind. I don't know what he was thinking. But the car's good, so we just need to, you know, keep it on track.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch the tire wear. Jamie?
Well, Dane Cameron, out of the car from your first stint in the car. You said it's a bit of a handful. What do you mean by that?
I don't know why, but all of a sudden this place seems to be a bit hard on tires. You run a bit trimmed out here with all the long straightaways, so it's a fair amount of sliding around getting down the carousel. So the last couple laps were pretty exciting through there, but it just seems a little low grip. We haven't been on the track in over a day and a half, so conditions are a bit different, but it was still a great stint to get to lead some laps for the first time for the team, so that was a lot of fun. Wayne's in there now. We'll see how long he can hold on up at the front, and then we'll get back in at some point.
We talk about the tire wear. You mentioned it. How do you manage that balance?
It's still learning. I'm still learning about the car. You know, I was a bit excited leading for the first time, so I probably overdrove a little bit in the first half of my stint, just spun the tires a little too much. You know, there's a lot of low-speed traction events here, so all that stuff is putting extra heat in the tires every time you spin them up. So, you know, try to pass that along to Wayne, try to help him manage the wheel spin, and just see if you can keep a couple extra laps in the tires, because once they go, the drop-off is really steep.
It was a great stint. Get some rest before you get back in the car. Thanks.
He talks about low downforce in the speed, but that's the challenge of this racetrack, isn't it, Dorsey? I mean, it's one of those deals. You see the 31 with a problem right at pit out. It is the challenge of this racetrack. How much do you trim? How much downforce do you put in? You can make good speed through the corners if you've got downforce in it. But if you take it and you trim it out, then the car slides and you overheat the tire.
It's such a compromise here. You've got 3 mega long straightaways, so you pull that trim out of the car, they go good down the straightaway, but these are some sweeping long corners. It's also, you know, you have to find a balance between. You saw the 31 car with a driveline failure we're hearing, so it's out of the race at pit out.
Wayne Nonamaker doing a good job here. He's taken over the driving chores from Dane Cameron, and they lost a little bit of time in pit lane compared to the 10, but right now they continue to lead, and Wayne likes this racetrack. Remember a couple of years ago, boys, he surprised everyone. He got the GT pole here against some really stiff competition, so right now he's getting the job done.
Well, we talk about championships and time running out. The 10 car have been running up front until they had a problem at Indianapolis. It dropped them back a little bit in the championship, Chris, but they're having a good run today.
They are indeed, Brian. And Jordan Taylor had a chance to really follow that 42 car for most of your stint. How's the 10 car compare?
Yeah, it's tough to compare. He was pretty much gone right off the start. Memo kind of pushed him up the hill, and they were gone. We kind of settled in our own pace. They were a little in a league of their own. Memo had a mistake, and then traffic was kind of playing a big part of making gaps and losing gaps. So I think that's going to be the name of the game today, getting through traffic and getting the good breaks.
Yeah, one common thread we're hearing is tire wear and a slippery racetrack. Where's the 10 car with that?
Yeah, I think we struggled big time in practice, but we made some good changes. The car is good right now. There's definitely certain areas of the track where it feels greasier than others. I think certain patches are feeling the heat, so it's exciting. I think you'll see some action at the end.
Yeah, maybe a little greasy like that mullet you're growing.
Yeah, he's working on that hard.
Yes, he is.
It kind of reminds me of a picture of Dorsey when he was a lot younger. He's got the same type of hair. Good action from Road America. It's the Rolex Sports Car Series, and there's plenty more of it to come today. Make sure you stay with us.
Tomorrow is race day, and we're counting down the most epic crashes at the Glen, and there have been plenty of them. Plus, with only 5 to go till the chase, we hear from Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, and Martin Truex Jr. about their chase outlook. Catch NASCAR race day tomorrow at 10 Eastern on Speed.
Might make that film.
Yes.
That's why I said there have been plenty of them, Dorsey. I was trying to include you without using you by name.
I don't know if I'd be in the epic part, but I definitely been there.
61, Ken Wilden behind the wheel. So good to see him in the series and having a great run. He's one of those drivers that you look at over the past, you said it, Dorsey, he's won in everything from open wheel cars to sports cars. One of those guys that you play the woulda, shoulda, coulda game with. And just such a nice guy and a very, very talented race car driver. A good find for this team.
Yeah, he's won Grand Am championships before, of course, and he's a good fit. He's Canadian. It's a Canadian-based team, of course, and you know, he's worked well with the group before. He knows all the boys, Ian Willis and Andrew Bourdin and all that group very, very well. So it was a natural fit. Kind of a last-minute deal when Max got the call. Tony Stewart broke his leg earlier this week. Max is filling in for him. Max was supposed to be here this weekend, and next weekend at Kansas City, Max is going to skip that race due to nationwide commitments. It's going to be Alex Tagliani, who just lost his IndyCar seat, who's now going to be taken over in the 61 car. So Jeff Siegel's having a number of different co-drivers over the last few weekends.
And Tagliani should be nothing short of exciting.
Particularly at that at Kansas Speedway, you know, oval, where these cars are going to be really running in the upper 190s. It's going to be awesome.
Well, the 61 having a good run. The 31, not so much problems for the Whelen Corvette. We saw it at pit out. Jamie, what do you have?
Well, the car has officially retired, but for driver Boris said, you just got here today. You're qualifying in Watkins Glen for the NASCAR race. You qualified 27th. How challenging is it when you have to go back and forth and now with this disappointment?
I mean, it's a disappointment because the Whelen Corvette was really good and, you know, Eric was really fast. But unfortunately, we had an issue in practice, and then it, you know, came in the race. I was having a little problem with the transmission, and then something failed on Eric. So it's too bad, but, you know, lucky me, I get to go back to Watkins Glen and drive the U.S. Chrome car tomorrow. But it's a tough day for Whelen.
Certainly not something we were looking forward to. Thank you.
Yeah, I spoke to Eric this morning. He said they actually had a drive shaft issue yesterday that cost him a bit of practice time, but he felt that the car was really, really good. He was looking forward to today's race. He said, Bros will be no problem. He'll slide in immediately and just get the job done and hand it over. So they're another team that's shown a lot of pace and promise this year, but just can't quite execute and get that race victory.
You know who I'm impressed with right now?
Wayne Nonemaker.
Wayne Nonemaker, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. Really hanging it out there, big four-wheel drift, getting all of it.
You see the 5 car and the 10 car coming. Remember, the 5 car on a very different strategy after Christian Fittipaldi flat spotted that front tire. But I think they can still do it on 2 more stops. So everyone's on a 3-stop strategy here today if it remains green. So they can still make this thing work.
Calvin, you brought it up before. Wayne Nonemaker really turned a lot of heads when he put on pole in GT a few years ago. But this is a big step for him to get into this car and to show the speed that he's showing.
I think what's good is that they got the car out of there and found him some space. So he's found a rhythm and started to lay down his lap times. He wasn't under pressure immediately. I think if Fittipaldi and Angelelli were all over him, it could have been a different story. But right now, he's found his comfort zone, and he's doing a great job.
I think that is an excellent point. Meanwhile, Angelelli taking the fight to Fittipaldi. Fittipaldi has won here in IndyCar competition back in the kart days, knows his way around, but right now he's got a mirror full of Angelelli. And remember, for this Velocity Worldwide team of Wayne Taylor Racing, they need to win races. If they want to get back to the top of the championship charts, they need to win. That is their sole focus. Angelelli trying to drive forward.
Yeah, they had the championship lead, Brian. Then at Watkins Glen, they had that gear linkage problem. Rebounded to finish 10th. Then at Indy, multiple issues there. Ultimately, Max smacked the wall coming onto the speedway and ended their day. So not good points there either, and they're falling 19 points out of the championship lead now.
Angelelli having a good run. What's the word from the Wayne Taylor camp, Chris?
Well, right now, Max Angelelli getting a bit frustrated on the radio, talking to his team and saying he wants to get around Christian Fittipaldi, and the team just told him, hey, Max, he's probably going to be coming to pit lane in about 5 or 6 laps, but that's a bit too long when you think about how long this racetrack is. That's a good 12 minutes from now. Oh, we see Christian peel off now, so that's going a little bit earlier than what we anticipated, and Max Angelelli getting a chance to get some clear track and catch up to that 42.
And that's a lot earlier than I anticipated since their previous stop. There's only 16 laps on the board. They can normally go about 23 laps. So, and this is going to hurt their strategy by doing it on one more stop. They're not going to be able to split the difference from this point forward. So I don't quite understand this.
I wonder if Christian's times were falling off, or maybe they felt something that the car was lacking in performance.
I agree with you, Calvin. I just looked up at the time and started to back time it and found it very odd. Chris?
Well, taking a look at the car here that came to pit lane. Looking at the tires, no flat spots like we saw that last set, at least on the left side. And Joao Barbosa getting behind the wheel. So we'll have a chance to talk to Christian Fittipaldi here as soon as he gets his helmet off and see if there was another issue with this car. But yeah, definitely a bit too early for this pit stop. I'm sure, Calvin, you're probably working your calculations there. And team finishing up that stop, and Christian still has his helmet on, so we'll give him another minute and then we'll try and get a word from him.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think they can go 52-minute stints, Chris, from the mileages I've been given, but maybe they are getting great mileage, and maybe this is the first opportunity to pit and do it on one more stop, but it seems slightly early to me. We'll have to wait and see.
You are at full throttle for so long around this racetrack. It's one of the very first things that we talked about. Fuel mileage always an issue here. The 9 was also on pit road, the team car, doing a full stop, so maybe they know something that we don't know.
But they'd have to go 26 laps or thereabouts, and everyone else is telling us 22, 23, 24, so that is a huge difference. Chris?
Well, Christian Fittipaldi finally has his helmet off here, and Christian, by our calculations, that pit stop seemed a little bit early after the problem of flat spot and you coming in early in this race. Was that a little bit of a strategy change there?
No, the second pit stop wasn't planned at all. Probably we have some issue with the fuel system. We should have gone a little bit longer, and unfortunately we didn't. So now,
did the reserve go off there and tell you to come to pit lane?
It went on and off a couple of times, and the engine was misfiring. I had to come in that lap, otherwise I would have run out of fuel, and it maybe cost us the race right now.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem, because maybe they didn't get it topped up on that previous stop. Maybe they're not picking up all of the fuel, or something's amiss there, but this is definitely taking them out of the game. They're going to need some help now with the yellow and try and get back on the same strategy as the others.
In a way, they got to hope that they didn't fill it, because if it's not that, it's not going to fix itself. It's going to do it again.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. You hope that it was just a mistake with the fueling on the first stop. Otherwise, they may have a long day here at Road America. 1 hour, 43 minutes to go in round 9 of the 2013 season. It's the Rolex Sports Car Series live on Speed. Every time we come to a Rolex Sports Car Series event, we get to talk a lot about Chevrolet products, and why wouldn't we? We see Corvettes and Camaros competing out on the racetrack. My good friend Eric Kern here is fortunate enough that he gets to drive both.
Yeah, this is great, Brian. I got to drive Chevy Camaros and Chevy Corvettes all day today at the track. It was a lot of fun. Brian, let's go see what this new Silverado is like.
Sounds good.
Chevy Silverado, the Z71 package and LTZ with all the options. This is quite a truck. If you were looking out the back, you wouldn't know this was a pickup truck. It's unbelievably quiet. It drives car-like. It handles great. It's got great power, and it gets good gas mileage.
It's got the best fuel mileage of any V8 standard-sized pickup truck, which is pretty awesome. You're used to performance, and there's plenty of performance in the Silverado as well.
It's a 5.3-liter V8, so it's got tons of power, and it still gets that great fuel mileage. So, you know, if you're towing a trailer or, you know, just going for a Sunday cruise, it just does everything well. It's got all these features as part of the LTZ package. MyLink. It's got leather interior, sunroof, heated, cooled seats, leather-wrapped steering wheel, This is quite a truck, Brian.
Well, it's got it all. If you want to go to the ball game, you want to go tailgating, you want to go hunting, or you just want to go for a night out on the town, the Silverado will do it all. For more on the 2014 Chevy Silverado, go to Chevy.com to learn a little bit more, or you can always visit your local Chevy dealer. And Eric Curran drove me everywhere around this place. Silverado also the official vehicle here at Road America, the official safety vehicle as well. It was a great pickup truck, and all right, so my Suburban's out in the parking lot. I was trying to see if I could get the keys to drive it back home.
Kind of looked like you were out looking for one of my lost airplanes.
Exactly. Dorsey flying his radio-controlled airplanes here at the track. Talk about flying. Wayne Nonemaker flying out in front, just over a second, almost a second and a half over Max Angelelli, but that is big. Wayne Nonemaker putting in one heck of a drive here today.
Yeah, if he can hang on here and keep this performance going, he doesn't even need to maintain the lead, but just keep it at the sharp end. Get it back to Dane Cameron. We're seeing the sort of lap times that Dane has been capable of here today. It's not inconceivable. They had a surprise pole. They could really shock the establishment. We talked about Timmy Keene saying on the radio to Memo Rojas, you're not racing the 42 car for the win. Well, guess what? Right now they are.
Yeah, right now you are racing the 42 car for the win. Always great to have drivers come back to the series that we haven't seen in a while. And when you see a name like Bergmeister on the list, you may think about Jörg, but Jörg's not here this weekend. His brother Tim is, and he's with Jamie.
And if you're a fan of international racing, 15 months ago, you might have thought that Tim Bergmeister would never get behind the wheel of a race car again. He was involved in a very scary accident at Fuji Speedway in the Super GT Series. Hard impact. Tim spent 4 months in the 4 weeks in the hospital recovering, months and months of rehab after that. But this is your first race back in competition. How was your first stint out on the racetrack?
For me, it was okay. My body is fit again. I'm ready to drive. A long time ago already. This opportunity came up. I'm working for Effort Racing as a driver coach, and Bernard Mühlner asked me if I'd like to join, and I said, okay, I'll do it. So it was really nice to drive again. I just struggled a little bit with understeering in the first stint. The front tire had a lot of graining, but it was okay, I guess.
In that accident, you had 34 broken bones in the top half of your body alone. How do you recover from something like that and then trust a race car enough to get back behind the wheel?
For me, there was never a question about racing again. When I woke up again, I tried immediately to think about the next race and tried to recover quickly, and I trained really hard and got back into a go-kart after 2.5 months, so I was hard working on it, and it's okay.
Well, it doesn't matter how the race today turns out for you guys. It's great to have you back in the paddock.
Thank you.
Guys, I tell you what, I raced at Fuji. That place is really, really fast. We talk about this racetrack, that's even faster than this. And a wreck like that, you know, he said when I woke back up, that's the good news. Because he doesn't remember much about it.
There's such a family in this paddock, and when you see one of the guys have a problem like he had, I mean, your prayers are out to them, and you couldn't meet two nicer guys than he and his brother Jörg.
Well, and he talks it down like, oh, no, I was fine. They were life-threatening injuries, and there was a point in time where it was very questionable whether Tim would walk again, whether he could get back in a car, whether he would survive. The injuries were significant, and not only has he done all of that, but obviously back behind the wheel of a car, and it's great to see him here. It's a great family like we talked about. There is the 63, Lee Keene running second. 2 Mühlner Motorsports Porsches in the field today, and there's the 19 with a problem. That's the carousel.
That would have been a wreck before. Now
I was going to say, Grant Mayman behind the wheel. We all raced here.
Yeah.
When that gravel was not there, the tire wall was literally about 5 feet from the edge of the road.
Yeah, I mean, this sorts the men from the boys, as we discussed when we saw the track map earlier at the beginning of the show, and that area of the racetrack, from the carousel through the King, down the Canada corner, just great corners, classic corners, but it really, you know, it's great that there's a bit more room there because it used to catch a lot of guys out.
Well, we talk about this being a historic and iconic. The great thing about Road America, there have been safety improvements made around the track, but the nuances of the track, the layout, has not changed. It is still one of the best racetracks in North America, and the Rolex Sports Car Series is here live. If you want to watch your favorite racing series live, go to speed2.com to watch live and on demand. Watch full races from your favorite series, DTM, Continental Tire Challenge, FIA F3, and the Ferrari Challenge. Go to speed2.com for more info. And talk about watching racing. Here's a big announcement that was made just yesterday. 5-year multimedia deal. Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, from 2014 through the 2018 season. United Sports Car Racing and Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. That is good news.
Yes, exciting. And next week, of course, we transition over from Speed. This is our final Grand Am Rolex broadcast on the Speed Network, and next week will be on Fox Sports, so we're looking forward to that.
Along those same lines, I want to shout out to this racetrack for how beautiful it is, how well kept it's been, and the fans that showed up. This place is packed. When you have a 4-mile racetrack and you see the amount of fans that are around here, you're talking serious numbers of people, and it's really cool to see road racing very popular in this area of the United States.
Yeah, I don't think the track has ever looked better, Dorsey, when you roll in here. I mean, it looks lush. I think the weather has something to do with that. It hasn't had the extreme heat this summer and browned it out, but the track facility looks fantastic, and it's just great to be here.
Let's talk championship. That's what we talked about on the way in. Alex Popoff, Ryan Dial, they lead it, but right now, Dial running 5th and reporting a problem with the car. It seems that he may have a problem with the throttle. He feels like he can't get full throttle. And I did see that same puff of smoke that you saw, Dorsey. We know that there's damage to the nose after Alex Popoff got into the back of the 01 of Memo Rojas.
I haven't been able to identify yet where that smoke's coming. It's just wispy smoke that's coming out of the back occasionally. First I thought it might have been tire rub, but I don't see any reason for that.
And you said, Dorsey, at the beginning of the show, the guys who lead the championship this year seem to have these strange problems. We saw it the 01, we saw them with the 10. This team has leapt to the top of the table, and it's not been a smooth day so far.
Chris, are they seeing anything or talking about anything down there in the Starworks camp?
Yeah, Brian, they have, and I just spoke with Peter Barron about it. He said that Ryan Dial was pretty much saying that the car was having a bit of a miss, so they think there's possibly something wrong with maybe the coils in that car. So on the next pit stop, they're going to take a look, but right now they're just saying, Ryan, you just got to drive through it, keep the car out there. He's about 1 second to 2 seconds off the pace, though. Jamie?
Well, Katie Crawford down from the stand right now. We talked to Dane, and he said that Wayne was going to have to manage those tires. He's doing a great job, though. What have you guys been able to find in that car?
We did a couple large adjustments this weekend that we really tried to work on saving the tires and getting the traction, which is where we've really fallen behind. So we really took a chance and tried to do that. I think everybody's losing the tires here, which I'm surprised. Road America's never been like that, so we were a little surprised we had to do that. But Wayne's doing a great job, and he hasn't had many laps in the car, so I'm really proud of him.
Another thing that you mentioned this weekend were the pit stops. How proud of you were you guys for that last pit stop?
Very. That was, you know, we haven't been the greatest, and we're still learning, and we just need more practice, more practice, more practice. So they did a wonderful job. I'm really proud of everybody right now.
How soon until we can expect to see Dane Cameron back in the car?
About 5 laps.
All right, thank you.
Pit stops will be rolling through again. We understand the 01 will be pitting before long. Bill Oberlin has gotten past Lee Keene to take over second in GT. As you look at Angelelli running second, trying to hunt down Wayne Nonamaker. He's just right there in front. But it was interesting. It was interesting earlier. Angelelli, when he caught Fittipaldi, was talking about he wanted to get by him but couldn't. Catching and passing, we always say it, Dorsey, two very different things.
Talked about earlier about clean air, too, on the front of these noses on these race cars. These are all high-speed corners with the exception of turn 5, where the air across the front of the nose really helps on downforce. When you get top trapped behind somebody, you lose all that, and your lap speed falls.
Here we're looking at Bill Oberlin, who's chasing down that Ferrari for the lead right now. Bill Oberlin, as the lead Ferrari takes a bit of a wild ride there. Kenny Wilden may have been looking in the mirror to see where Bill Oberlin was. A little bit of a bobble. Oberlin is coming. He's got some speed, and he's celebrating his 500th professional race start here this weekend with this triple header that he's going through.
And can he use the Daytona prototype to work his way by? No, Wilden falls in behind the DP into turn 12, but Bill Oberlin in that yellow and blue Turner Motorsports BMW really beginning to press.
Everyone said when Paul Dallarana put this car second on the qualifying sheets, they said, boy, that is showing some tremendous potential. I mean, certainly Paul has been doing a great job over the last few years in terms of winning races with Bill Oberlin, but you got to feel when you put the weapon in, Bill Oberlin, that is going to go to the front with that sort of pace.
And here, look at the run he's got coming up the hill. The BMW motor really pulling up over on top of the top speed of that Ferrari.
We're about to find out who has the ponies down at the far end. Wilden with a defensive line to the inside. Oberlin, can he sweep around the high side? He does, but can he hold it? He'll make the run down to turn 3. side by side. Wilden stays inside. Oberlin tries to go on the outside again.
Great job by Kenny Wilden. Remember, this is not a driver who's running regularly in this form of competition.
Flipped over. Good stuff.
So this is good stuff by Kenny Wilden. He's feeling his oats a little bit right now as well, and trying to defend the lead, but Oberlin makes the power move down the back straight away.
Well, you can see that the BMW really's got good top speed, but Ferrari comes back.
He's coming back. He's down the inside. You don't outbrake Bill Oberlin very often. He has a look to the inside.
And Oberlin wide won't get as much of a grip, and they run up to turn 5.
Fantastic stuff. Go for it, Kenny Wilden. I'm loving this.
That was nice stuff, right? Go both drivers through 6 clean.
Great braking by Wilden down into 5. Now another heavy braking zone at the bottom of this hill. Is Oberlin close enough to get the job done? No, not here, not 8. Can he get the run
This
through?
is for the lead.
Here's for the lead.
Angelelli finally gets around Wayne Nonemaker and gets the lead of this motor race. Nonemaker now just needs to hang in there, hit his marks, don't do anything silly, just continue the pace he's been running. He's been doing a tremendous job. Max Angelelli's task now is trying to gap that 42.
Did I just hear a pit this lap on the pass right there? I think I did.
I think I may have, and the great thing is Wayne Nonemaker now has a rabbit in front. He can follow right behind Max Angelelli and see what he can gain there. But if you look in the mirror,
Gurney's coming.
You see Gurney on his way, the 99 beginning to close, and this is not good for our championship leaders.
And it's not a coil pack either. A coil pack is the ignition coil that sits on top. This is an internal problem, I'm afraid. And we haven't seen this new engine yet have any kind of difficulty.
Is there a way, Dorsey, if they had a throttle issue where he wasn't getting full throttle, would that lean out if he's not getting...
It shouldn't, because the computer should take care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not going to be good. They'll change the 4 Continental tires.
We need a fire bottle guy. We need a fire bottle guy.
Oh, lots of miscues by this team right now. They were hoping to get some fuel in the car, but they didn't have a fire bottle guy there to cover their fuel man. So very slow on getting fuel in the car. Now they're going to take off the rear deck, try and take a look in this engine compartment. Listening to him on the radio, not a lot of talk about what's going on with this car. But, you know, we've talked all along. Everybody who's leading this championship seems to give it up.
They talk about a coil pack, and those are the ignition coils that sit on top of the spark plugs of each of the cylinders in that V8. And but that wouldn't cause that smoke, guys. I hate to say.
Yeah, and right now, Dorsey, they're changing all the spark plugs on the right bank of that motor. So they're working on the right side of the motor, changing all the spark plugs.
But they already know that there's something off the right bank. They see them in telemetry. What will happen when you have a misfire is your cylinder temperature will go down. It won't be as hot on the right side as the left. So they know the trouble area is off that bank.
But I saw smoke out of both sides.
Yeah, I did too. That's what I said. It's not going to fix it.
Yeah, that's going to be an issue. But we talked about the championship. Chris just mentioned it again. Popoff, Dial at the top now. Fogarty and Gurney in second by only 10 points. They're having a good run in the top 3 right now. And Max Angelelli running at the top. The 0-1 now has come to pit road.
Yeah, and that's only a 20-lap run, so this new BMW engine with the higher RPM is certainly burning the fuel a little bit quicker than some of the competition. So Pruitt only 20 laps on that run. They were telling me 22, and there you see the smoke out the back end of our championship leader. This is not a pretty sight for Peter Barron.
Yeah, and
it's not running on all cylinders either.
Jamie?
Scott Pruitt, tires already going on this car. The bodywork repair that they did on the last pit stop seems to be holding up all right. You can still see the damage. It's moving around just a little bit, but it shouldn't be affecting anything. It's a very quick stop. They are going to give him a fresh windscreen as the sun sets. You start to notice all the dirt that's around on the fuel incomplete. That was a very quick stop for no one.
And
Two cars parked.
Right at pit out now, and when you're Scott Pruitt and you drive past that car knowing it's got the same power plant in it that you have in the back of yours, that new BMW engine, you got to be concerned. But great stuff in GT.
This is fantastic. Look at this. Oberlin is hanging on by a thread. Lee Keen is now very much back in the mix. Seems like he's managed his tires really well, and he's coming back. But let's go down to Chris with Alex Popoff.
Well, we saw Ryan Dial try and exit pit lane. Lots of smoke out of the back of the 2 car. He shut it down just at the end of pit exit. And Alex, you were on the radio there. What's going on with the 2 car?
I don't know. have a misfire in the engine. There was something wrong with the engine. It was losing power slowly. That's what Ryan was going every time a little slower and slower until last lap. We just lose a lot of power and lots of smoke, so we don't know what's happening.
Did he shut it down there, or did that motor explode?
No, we shut it down here, and we're just not going to run it. No power on the engine, and we're just stopping it.
Oh, what a tough day for these guys, leading the championship, and this is just a killer for them in the points.
And now the 42 is back in. Catherine said they would be. They're here. Jamie.
And driver change already well underway. Wayne Nunemaker out of the car. Big leap over the wall. You can see that extra pep in his step after that fantastic stint he put in. Dane Cameron getting strapped in right now. They are going to get 4 new Continentals as well as a full fuel load. It was very, very quick stop. That was much quicker than the previous stop. Fuel still going in, but they're done. Chris?
Well, we've seen great stops by the 10 car all year long. Another great stop. They came in the lead. They're going to leave in the lead, but we can see that 42 car now with Dane Cameron by the wheel. A couple hundred yards exiting pit lane behind the 10 car. We've got a great battle here for the overall lead.
This is going to be spectacular, boys. This is going to be something else because Dane Cameron has had the pace earlier in this race. Now he's got to chase down Angelelli.
And that was a really good pit stop by those guys.
Yep.
I mean, remember, they came out in the same distance that they came in.
Good stuff. Max Angelelli had the lead. He was our Continental Tire halfway leader.
Ferraris are back in front.
They are. Orblin pits. That was the other Turner Motorsports BMW in the frame there. So this was our leader. Bill Orblin's in pit lane. Now it's Ferrari versus Ferrari.
Wilden in the 61, right behind him in the 63, having a good go of it. You got Lee Keane. 2 Ferraris going for it. The 0-1 right there.
You can see Wilden. You can see it in the language of the car. He's getting comfortable. Turner in. Jamie.
Well, in talking to Will Turner this weekend, he said that the competition is tighter than it's ever been. They were cautiously optimistic. Bill Oberlin saying he was pretty optimistic because they're running on the R tire from Continental again. The last time they ran the R tire was at Mid-Ohio, and they won that race. This BMW really likes the balance of the car when it runs on this particular tire. Today, everything going to plan. 4 new Continentals on there. Fuel almost complete. Bill's going to stay in to finish out this race.
BMW runs so strong here, both in the American Le Mans Series and in the Rolex Sports Car Series. The balance of that car just seems to like Road America. But right now, it's Ferraris out in front, Wilden being chased by Lee Keane.
Yeah, Oberlin loves Road America. He's had so much success here over the years, but right now they've got to wait and see. The Ferrari seems to be getting pretty good fuel mileage. 6 cars in, Justin Wilson behind the wheel. Jamie?
Well, Justin Wilson bringing his Champ Car experience here to this race today. He's saying he was really looking forward to this. It was going to be a new challenge, but he trusted the car that the Shake guys would give him. He knew it was going to be competitive from the get-go. Today, going according to plan, that was a very quick pit stop. Fuel tires only.
Sounded like a burnout.
Yeah, it was second place when he came in. It was a great stop. The 69. The team car to the 61, also on pit road. Anthony Lazzaro behind the wheel. So everybody cycling through both in GT and in Daytona prototypes.
And look at the sun starting to be trouble here. One of the Daytona prototypes, I think that's the 2. That's the 2, I think.
Oh, it's the 2.
He must have tried to go further out. Now he's in a bad spot on the race.
It looks further out than
it is further out.
I thought it was.
And now it's in a place where they might not deem it to be in a safe area anymore. You think? It was way up. It was at pit out.
Let's check in with Chris.
Well, Brian, I've been sitting here listening to Ryan Deal talk with the team on the radio. He's got the doors up to the 2 car, just about 100 yards past the end of pit exit, off to the right side. And he's hoping for a yellow right now because he wants to get out of the car and come back here. And he's like, I'm not going to get out of the car because cars are going by here at 180 miles an hour. So he feels a little bit unsafe right now, hoping that maybe they throw him a yellow and allow him to get out of that kind of precarious spot.
Now the 63 is in. Pit stops. Scrolling through both Daytona prototypes and the GT category, and now Alex Gurney has moved to the top. It's the way it's been all day long. Changes, they are everywhere, and there are plenty more still to come from Road America. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance oil that outperforms. And by Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. And full course caution. We were just talking about it in the break. Joao Barbosa leads, and we were going to find out if they had gotten that problem fixed or maybe it was just a bad fuel fill. And we said they still probably needed a full course caution to make it. They got their full course caution because of the 2-car.
They have, but they still need to identify if they're getting a full load of fuel on board. Certainly this will help their scenario. And Peter Barron was pretty upset. He went down to the pit out marshal there and really worked hard. What's going on down there, Chris?
Well, the team, pretty much the entire Starworks team has been trying to get that 2-car off the racetrack. And Peter, you finally went down to pit out there and talked to the officials, and you got your caution.
I mean, the motor blew. It was a bad day for us, but holy cow. I mean, to leave a guy on the track like that in this day and age with pace cars, we don't need to have something catastrophic.
Yeah, Ryan sounded a little bit uncomfortable out there listening to him on the radio talking to you.
Yeah, there were guys coming out of the pits racing and stuff. It was just crazy. You know, if the future's that, they need to think about this one.
Well, hey, now looking ahead, obviously a bad day for you guys, but this championship is coming down to the wire with 3 more races after this weekend. What do you guys need to do?
I think we need to win some more races.
There you go.
Well, they'll take a look internally at this engine and see what parts failed in there. I know that's the first thing on their mind. As you said, Brian, earlier, it's Scott Pruitt's out there right now with an identical engine. There's a new 4.5-liter quad cam 4-valve engine. Second race for it. It was won its first time out. It was 1-2. It's very solid. That looks like a broken piston to me. I mean, they won't know until they take it apart.
Well, the irony is we talked about it in Indianapolis. Why would the championship leader take a risk and a gamble with a new motor?
Yeah.
They went out and won the race. We thought, well, they know a lot more than we did, but
you know, and Steve Dinan, who builds these from Dinan Engineering, he's dynoed this thing to death. And, you know, he'll probably have a good idea what's going on with it. But and we said this at Indy. You can run an engine to death on a dyno, but you bolt it into a chassis. It's a whole different animal. It goes through different stresses.
Different racetrack even will put it through different stresses and things like that. So, yeah, we're just guessing right now as to what the problem potentially can be. But obviously a big blow to their championship right now, and they just got to regroup. There's 3 races to go. They'll still be in it because they had a 10-point lead over everyone, and obviously more than that over guys like Pruitt and Rojas, a 25-point lead over those guys.
Just the long duration of the corners can move the oil in different ways. The bumps, all of that can affect it. But I can tell you what, very impressed with some of the drives today. We talked about Dane Cameron. We also talked about Kenny Wilden, who's just climbed out of the 61 car and is with Jamie.
Well, the first thing Kenny Wilden said when he took that helmet off was that was awesome. Now, we talked to the team earlier in the week. They said raceability was an issue, but you were in the middle of some pretty good battles. How was the car today?
The car was perfectly balanced. We made a couple little changes, I think, before the race, but you know, it was comparably to the other cars, we were pretty quick. Don't have the straight line speed that the BMWs do, very quick, but we've got the handling in the corners, and hopefully that'll pay off for us. But, you know, first time with this team, it's awesome. Remo and Toronto Ferrari and Calgary Ferrari, very happy for them, and nice to keep it up front. And looking forward to my teammate to taking it to the podium here.
Your stint's over now, and you have the big smile on your face, so obviously things went well, but when you come into a new team in the middle of a season and you're asked to bring the car home clean, how much pressure does that put on you?
You know, I don't put any more pressure on myself. Like, I put the most pressure on myself, but I tend to be pretty calm, and I'm used to sort of subbing and Trans Am and very high horsepower stuff. So I've been in GT, I've been in DP, so to get in the Ferrari when it drives so nice, it just makes it that much easier. So good.
Great job today.
They were joking the other day they needed to add a vowel to his last name to make him sound a little bit more Italian. But, you know, it's great to see him in the car. Max Pappas obviously celebrated with Jeff Siegel at Indianapolis with the victory. They got to kiss the brakes. A tremendous win for this team. And this is a great opportunity for Kenny Wilden this weekend to drive that race-winning car. The reason he got to drive it is Max Pappas is subbing for Tony Stewart after that crash in a sprint car. 2 broken legs for Stewart and had to have surgery and surgery again. So 2 different surgeries. Tony will be out for a while. Max now has an opportunity. You don't want to get the opportunity because of something like that, but as tough as Tony Stewart is, he may be kicking Max out of the car before long. We're under full course caution for the first time today in the Rolex Sports Car Series from Road America. We'll be back more live on Speed.
Looking back out of the Camaro ZL1 safety car, leading the field because we are under caution. It'll be interesting to see who pits. I want to clarify something. I said Tony Stewart, 2 broken legs. What I meant was 2 broken bones, both the tibia and the fibia in one leg. So not both legs. I misstated that, even though I knew better. But
Barbosa
now,
peels off.
Barbosa peels off.
We'd heard that the 01 car may come just because of their relatively poor track position, get topped up.
Yeah, he's there now.
Increases that margin. Is he in there, Dawson?
No, he didn't go in. He's on track right now.
I thought.
So what do we see on the 5 car as the number of laps that were run?
They had 16 laps on the board, so the big question is, are they getting like a 22-lap run or not? We still haven't seen it yet today, Chris.
Yeah, we got to remember that this car is off sequence because Christian Fittipaldi flat spotted those tires very early on in the race. So they're going to take this opportunity to top up and put 4 new tires on the 5 cars. Joao Barbosa leading this race, handing that over to Wayne Taylor Racing and Max Angelelli. I thought the 01 was also going to come in, stop through and decide to stay out on the racetrack.
Saw the 3 go by, so they've stopped. The 9 has stopped. There's the 60 as well. The 8 is in. And I'm going to assume that's the 43 in the back, the Salins car at the back of your shot. Jamie, you have more on the 60.
Well, it's just a really quick pit stop for the number 60, fuel only, so the team pretty happy with the way that those tires are holding up as we get into the closing stages of the race.
Yeah, and I think if you're at the back of the pack, so to speak, it's a no-brainer. You might as well come up and top up. You're going to assume the same position in the line before you go back to green. It's a tough one when you're leading because you're seeing all of these guys behind you. Suddenly they got a full fuel load. That increases their fuel window for their next stop. Or maybe if you got enough yellow, they can stretch it without another stop. So I'm sure there's some nervous pit boxes down there from the lead 4 or 5 cars.
Well, you know, both of the Shank cars running pretty well. Wilson in 5th and Negre after that stop being shown in 9th. But, you know, that's another team who's run so well this year. Oz, especially at his comeback, Mid-Ohio was spectacular. He showed me something this weekend that I had not seen. We knew that he had been playing hurt at Daytona when he got in the car, but eventually he had to have surgery. There's the x-ray of his ankle. You want to talk about playing hurt. It was hurt bad enough. There are 8 screws and a plate in there when you look at it. So that is what Oz Negre had to deal with through the beginning of the year. Now with that surgery done, he said you can kind of still feel the screws, but it's stable. The only problem, he can't pull his ankle back real far and get completely off the gas. I said, that's what makes you fast.
I think he's got his
not
screw
good for
loose.
fuel mileage.
You look at that.
He's done great rehab. He uses a bone stimulator. He's got a 0-gravity treadmill that he uses and works out. He's always a fitness fanatic anyway, and I think he's just come back with a new passion. I mean, I think it's a new Oz Negre since the incident.
Yeah, I agree. He said the only thing his doctor wouldn't let him do was race a go-kart. And it's interesting, we were talking about the engine, the BMW engine. The vibration of the go-kart was such that the doctor was concerned about how it would affect the broken bones. We talk about different racetracks having a different effect on engines. This racetrack, long duration, high-speed corners, different bumps and stuff that you go over. That may have been the issue with the BMW power plant. We don't know. That's all speculation. You're right on board the 69. Anthony Lazzaro behind the wheel. Some great shots.
And they're very much in the thick of that GT championship. They keep clicking away there. Emil Asentado, who's won the championship a couple of years, teamed up with Anthony Lazzaro. They're in the thick of that points battle. As we said, both championship battles are very, very intense at this stage of the game. Lazzaro and Asentado just 14 points out of the championship lead that was held by Lally and Potter coming into this race.
Saw something rare there with the driver checking his watch. He knows it's dinner time. He wants something to eat now. When you start
He's got a new
what time
baby.
of
He's
day.
checking on whether Millie needs a feed. I think.
Well, there you go. You know, as we come to this weekend, especially with ALMS here, and we talk about the future, there have been a lot of announcements this weekend. Also heard some announcements about tires for the future.
So we're very excited to be part of this announcement and looking forward to United Sports Car Racing in the future, 2014 and beyond. We've spent the last 3 years really developing this tire, and I think what this ultimately shows is Continental Tire's commitment to sports car race in the United States for the long term.
It's a good thing to have one tire. I mean, as we've seen in Formula One and in IndyCar and what's always been in NASCAR, I think they should even go further and make one tire across the board.
It's not easy for a manufacturer to come in and keep everybody happy, but they've done a good job. They've done a great job, actually, in getting everybody happy. And, you know, we're definitely on a tire now that we love, so looking forward to it for next year.
And
And obviously, we've seen Continentals in the Rolex Series, but in the American Le Mans Series, Continental tire is on the prototype challenge cars, and the drivers absolutely love them. GT cars now in. The Turner BMW is in, Jamie.
And it was Bill Oberlin who was first on pit road, leading from the GT lead. Fuel, 4 new Continental tires for Bill. They're also going to give him a fresh windscreen to pull off one of those tear-offs, but crew guy having a hard time getting it off. That could hold up this pit stop. They are still trying to get these 4 new tires on. This is a little bit longer. Some GX cars are leaving pit lane. Should be good to go to the end of the race. Chris?
Well, Jamie, down at my end, we saw Pat Long coming in the Park Place Porsche. Also, Robin Liddell in the 57 Stevenson. Checking in with some of these teams to see how much caution they're going to need to try and make it from here. Most of them are saying they're going to need 1 more caution, and it's got to be a pretty good one, at least 4 or 5 laps, which is about 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah, about 45 to 50 minutes of the fuel stint that I've been told in the paddock, Chris, and we're just under an hour to go. So I think you're spot on there. We're going to need a lengthy caution for this to work. But even so, if there is a caution, they need to come. Their fuel fill is going to be a lot shorter than the leaders right now who stayed out.
Well, you see the cars now once again lining up behind the safety car. We'll get the pit stops underway, get it all sorted out, and get back to racing. They're lined up. Well, American Le Mans Series and Rolex cars lined up this weekend to get a picture somewhat of the future. And what a cool photo op of all the cars here, the cool American Le Mans Series cars, the Daytona prototypes, the GT cars, all together. It kind of looks like the start of one of the Continental Tire races, that they're always that close.
See the left car in the grass, which means you cannot go 4 abreast down this front.
Not safely. That's been settled right there. Yeah, it was a great photo op, and all the teams were involved with it, and be a pretty cool poster, I would say.
Had a lot of fans come out to look at that group, and I don't even want to guess how many pictures taken. It is a day in history, no doubt.
Absolutely.
Talk about the fans. Look, and we were talking about how many people were here. All the people who have come to camp. It reminds me of days of old. The racetrack in great shape, just attracting that many more spectators. Why would it not? With some great racing action from Road America this weekend. You're watching the Rolex Sports Car Series live on Speed. And there's that shot again of all the cars lined up. American Le Mans Series cars, Rolex Sports Car Series vehicles. Several of the drivers in the field are driving in both series this weekend. Some of them even in 3 series. One of those drivers, Tristan Nunez, and he's with Jamie.
Well, Tristan Nunez is also one of the future stars of sports car racing, really cutting your teeth right now in the ranks. You race tomorrow in the ALMS and the PC category, but here today in GX. How is the race going for you guys?
Our Visit Florida car is running fantastic right now. I mean, we're P1, 1 lap ahead. Tough luck for the 70 car. I think they had some power steering issues, but hopefully they can come back and we can finish 1-2. So just looking for a good race right now.
I'm sure you probably don't know the answer to this question yet, but you're racing here in GX, you're racing in ALMS and PC. Next year, when we have one unified sports car series, where will somebody like you go?
Oh my God, that question always haunts me. I don't know. I mean, I really want to stay with Mazda. That's my passion right now. I mean, I've been with them for so long, even since Skip Barber. So if I can stay with them through that merge, that would be fantastic. But yeah, right now it's a bunch of unknowns.
It's a bunch of unknowns, but right now we do know that you're still leading the race today, so congratulations on that and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, appreciate it.
He will start 7th in the Continental Tire Prototype Challenge category tomorrow in the American Le Mans Series event from here. And there are a lot of unknowns in Dorsey. We've talked about this. This is there to look at some of the drivers that are doing both series this weekend. We talked about it. I mean, this is really kind of an audition when you come to a weekend like this. You know that things are going to merge. You've got to find your spot.
I agree. I see what he's doing. The right thing that he's doing is aligning himself with a manufacturer, in this particular case, Mazda. That is the key to longevity in road racing, is to get yourself in as a factory driver, whether it be a factory Porsche or a BMW like Bill Oberlin, or in Christian's place, you know, be with Mazda. But you're there solidly in. It gives you doors to open and go through.
Lights off on the Camaro safety car. It's the number 10 of Max Angelelli who'll lead the field back to green. Right behind him, Alex Gurney, Dane Cameron in there as well. The Camaro heads to pit lane, and the field will stream up the hill looking for green, and we'll be back to racing at Road America. 53 minutes to go.
Good start by Max, no doubt about that. Pulls a little bit on Alex.
Yeah, this first lap is going to be lively, fellas, I think. Here we go. Look at this. Look at Cameron, dives to the inside.
He's going to get
the issue.
He gets it. He gets it. A forceful move.
And
that was a power move.
Gurney gets pushed all the way back to 5th.
And the problem, a GT car right there in front of them. Look at this, side by side. The 0-1 is in there. You ride on board with Justin Wilson.
They bang doors coming off of turn 3 there. Let's see how the Ford, on board with the Ford. Pruitt with that new BMW motor. Not much in it.
Ford feeling like they were down on top speed, but today they're doing okay, and Wilson leaves the 6 inside.
2 rows of side by side.
Which is Pruitt out wide. Pruitt's off the road. One of the Action Express cars maybe got by him there.
And the 60 in as well. The 60 slides by, so both Michael Shank entries move forward.
Wow. Pruitt being really aggressive there, taking the outside line, but, you know, Wilson's going to try and take that inside line away from you every day, Dorsey.
I mean, this is just classic road racing. We're under an hour to restart. It's time to jump, people. Get what you can get now.
The move by Dane Cameron, absolutely stunning, but we understand the 90 has been pushed behind the wall, Jamie.
Yes, and we're not sure yet if they're going to be able to make it back out. Something in the gearbox of the car has just completely quit. They cannot do a gearbox change in time to make it back out for the end of the race, so they are going to go back to the paddock, take a look at it, see if they can get back out, but clearly they're not having the day that they had planned.
Wow, they're not having the year they had planned, Jamie. Just one podium finish for Westy and Ricky Taylor, and that was a combination coming into this year, boys, that I think we all felt was going to be potent. They won 3 races apiece last year with different teams. Yet this year, they can't seem to get the magic happening.
Pruitt now under attack by the number 5.
That's
Man,
Barbosa.
It's Barbosa, and he is being pressured intently. 3 different cars have been pushing Pruitt around a little bit. Is he having a problem, Chris?
Well, he's not happy with the 0-1, and prior to that caution, he was talking to Tim Keene about that, saying that the car is just very loose, and they were talking about what types of changes they can make because they have the tallest gurney they have on that rear wing. So pretty much Tim Keene saying, hey, man, you've got what you've got. You've just got to drive it.
That has to be the damage that was done when Memo spun. You see how it's not straight across on that lip, that spoiler below the wing, that loses downforce. If they've got the tallest gurney that they've got, then they are out of downforce. Look at this start.
Look at this. You see the 4 car coming. Look at Dane Cameron. Flicks that 42 car to the inside and has the grip to pull it off. Forces Gurney wide. People take advantage of him. That was an incredible move here on cold tires.
Here on board with Justin Wilson. Take a look. There was the move to the inside. Now everybody's forced outside. The 99 in dirty ground right there.
The orange number 4, that is Sebastian Bourdais. He is a lap down, not in this fight, but you know he's going to be pressing hard. Talk about pressing hard. Dane Cameron now all over the back of the veteran Max Angelelli.
It's going to be good here.
Bourdais wants to get back on that lead lap, so he's going to put the pressure on Cameron and Angelelli if he can get to him and trying to get that number 4.
Oh, what was that?
That was weird. There was smoke from the 42 there for a moment. It was crazy.
There was smoke. I don't know if he missed a gear right there, possibly. Hopefully not, because that would have done damage to the engine more than likely, but that was a lot of smoke.
Dane Cameron, Wayne Nonamaker won in GT at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca last year. They know how to get it done. And Dane Cameron smokes out of the right bank.
Oh, no.
That's not good.
Hate to see that. There's such a strong performance, and he's putting the pressure on Max Angelelli right now. Remember, Jordan Taylor got out of this car at the beginning of the race and said, I had nothing for that BMW. Let's see what Max can do. They come up this front straightaway.
And for Sebastian Bourdais, it's a really bad situation if that thing belches out the right front, right tailpipe. It's going to be all over the front of his car.
Up the hill. Cameron looking at the back of the number 10. Does he have anything? Here we go.
Pops to the inside.
Stunning.
Great stuff.
Stunning move by Dane Cameron.
Oh, man, can that engine just hold together?
Think they're excited?
Catherine Crawford.
That is awesome for those guys.
Ooh, just dropped the wheel right there. He's got to watch himself driving really hard.
So impressive, but for Max Angelelli, he too knows, look, they are not in the championships.
Yeah.
We are. I have to be intelligent about this.
The 44, Andy Lally, is now around the 63. Lally to the front of GT. That has championship implications as well.
Well, we talked about the Ferrari finally getting their first victory of the year at Indianapolis, and Porsche still to see victory lane, even though they held the lead in the championship. We thought it was going to be the 73 car maybe. They're on different fuel strategies right now, but Andy Lally is making it happen this year. He keeps digging deep, getting big points every week.
Around the third place, Alessandro Balzan. It's going to be a good race.
Magnus Racing looking for their first win of 2013. Can Dane Cameron hold on and bring the first Daytona prototype victory to Team Salem? We'll find out when we come back to Road America. Dane Cameron leading at Road America, extending his lead over the black number 10 that just flashes by. Max Angelelli, who was 2.7 seconds at the line the last time. Impressive lap times being turned in by Dane Cameron.
Well, he's just hitting his marks. You can see on the entry to turn 3 there, he's almost in the grass. He's just widening the entry to that corner. You see it again there down in turn 5. And he has just got a rhythm this weekend, Dorsey, and it's hard to beat.
And he's trying to build a lead sufficient enough that when he comes in for fuel, he might be able to jump everybody out of pits.
And the number 5 car just into the pit lane, Chris.
Yeah, that was the final pit stop for Joao Barbosa. We talked to Elton Sawyer that they were going to have to change their strategy, and that's what they've been doing. That was a very fast stop because he was just here a little while ago. So it was about a 5-second fuel stop. That car now good to go to the end, and he's got some clear track to run some very fast laps.
Talk about fast laps. Dane Cameron just laid down the fastest lap of the race last time by. It's Cameron, Angelelli, then Gurney. But the distance beginning to grow, and for Max Angelelli, he's got to be looking behind him at the red 99 thinking this is championship right here.
It really is. And why is he stretching that lead? When he ran a 2:01.5, Angelelli was at a 2:02.5, so 1 second advantage over Max Angelelli. Incredible stuff.
Andy Lally now holding down the point in GT in the number 44, the white Porsche, but right behind him, the 63. Balzan behind the wheel of the Ferrari now, really beginning to put pressure. And this will be interesting to see, a Ferrari versus a Porsche. Are the tires going to hold up on the Porsche? Chris?
Well, talking to Andy Lally before this race, you know, the one thing he said is we have to take advantage of places like Road America in Kansas and next week, because those are our strengths. Those are the tracks that we can hopefully try and pull away from the Stevenson Camaro in this points championship. Because once we get to Laguna Seca and Lime Rock to finish out the season, it's like those tracks are going to be better for that Camaro. So right now, the day playing out the way that they need it.
Porsche going for its first win. That's hard to believe this late in the season. And there's not just one Porsche in the picture, guys. That's Pat Long coming up from behind. He's got some steam with him.
He really does. And I'm not seeing the 69 car, so I'm not sure if they pitted here or whether they just dropped back on this lap. There he is.
Ball's on.
No, so Lazaro has dropped back a couple of spots there. It looks like it's Pat Long now up to third.
But Pat Long very quick the last time by, 2:10.8. And that is considerably quicker than Andy Lally was leading. Understand that the 42 is slowing.
Wow, we're hearing maybe gearbox difficulties for Dane Cameron. This would be a heartbreaker. Oh, boy.
Oh, the disappointment. You can feel it everywhere. Jamie.
Well, it was a simple head shake from Katie Crawford signaling that the day is done. What's the problem with the number 42?
You have a drive issue. Something's wrong in the gearbox or the diff or something. It's terminal.
You guys have had such a strong run. How disappointing is this for the team?
It's hugely disappointing. I mean, you see how fast the car is. We got one more pit stop and we go to the end, and he's just passing people left and right. The crew's done an amazing job. It's extremely disappointing.
You can hear the emotion in her face, or in her voice.
Wow. And it wasn't the only one. And this one might make it back. There's a number 3, guys. I don't know if it was engine failure or not. We have full course caution out now.
And that is the 43. The problem, there's got to be fluid down. 44 is off. We saw in another car.
Ferrari off. Yeah, there's an oil down like crazy.
Well, is that the number 3?
Well, is it the 42 car that's maybe laying something down? We know
it's the 3 car off against the side.
And we saw him behind Dane. It almost looked like there was fire underneath that car.
I think it blew an engine and dumped all through that corner.
And that has taken out the 43. Several other cars near misses there. That's turn 7. Very fast in a prototype. Probably just a slight breathe off of the throttle in a GT. Just a little bit of a slowdown. And oil there is not what you want to see.
No, as we were going...
It was the 3, because there's the 4.
Yeah, it definitely was the 3. I saw it when we were talking with Katie Crawford, and I saw that the 3 blew up. You know, bad deal.
Let's check in with Chris.
Well, guys, everybody getting ready to do that final pit stop. The 10 car was just about ready to come to pit lane. The 01 also setting up. So these cars going to get behind that pace car before they come to pit lane for that final stop. But think about it. That 5 car was just here. They are good to go. This is a big swing back in their direction.
Yeah, and there's guys like Negri and Hartley who pitted just 9 laps ago. So I've got a feeling those guys may roll the dice, keep those cars out there, hope for maybe a lengthy caution here, a lengthy cleanup. We're seeing cars all over the racetrack, so it's going to take a while to clean up. Maybe they can be in the catbird seat.
Well, yeah, you know, the 3 car is a problem. There's Wayne. He's like, I can't believe it. I was just getting ready to bring the car in. You know the 3 is out there. You know the 43 is in the wall. And you know there's oil on the racetrack. Wayne disappointed. He's like, I can't get a break. So the cleanup could be quite lengthy.
Yeah, it's not long enough for these guys like Angelelli and Gurney with 14, 15 laps on the board. But when you drop down to 5th position, you look at Negri, who's only got 9 laps on the board. Hartley only 9 laps on the board. Barbosa, certainly, he just pitted 2 laps ago. So Barbosa's going to stay out. Maybe Negri and Hartley will do the same thing and roll the dice a little bit.
Well, you can see the trail of oil. There's a little bit of excitement. You don't want to see that if you're on board the Ferrari. There's more Rolex Series action coming your way live from Road America. The emotions in motorsports can be so high and so low. For the Team Salins running so well here in the visitflorida.com Sports Car 250 from Road America. Dane Cameron, absolutely spectacular, and it takes one part to break, and it all goes south.
I'll tell you what, though, Joe Salem will be very proud of the performance of this whole group here this weekend, from the qualifying performance on to Wayne jumping behind the wheel and doing a great job. The pit crew, you know, that was a great, great day for those guys, even though it's ended up in ultimate disappointment.
I was going to say something. Don't count out Wayne Nana making put in one heck of a drive today. The sister car gets caught up in the oil spill, which was a result of a blown engine, I believe, and then 3. I think they'll get him back going again.
We saw that flash fire out of the bottom of the 3 as he came through 7. It all was happening right there together.
Yeah.
And then Andy Lally dodged a bullet. He went off there. One of the Ferraris went off as well.
I think.
And this caution, it played in some people's favor and against others, Chris.
Well, Wayne Taylor's car up front right now. And Wayne, when that caution came out, we saw you throw your hands in the air. Why so much emotion?
Well, watch what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's, you know, the guys have done such a good job and a great strategy. And the yellow to come out now basically takes us out of contention of the race.
Well, out of contention of the race. I mean, there's quite a few cars that need to come in and take some fuel here, but you guys should still be right up there.
Yeah, but there's 2 cars that don't need to come in. I'm getting too old for this.
Jamie?
Well, he's right on that, mate.
Well, down at Gainesco, Bob Stallings, I know your team's strategizing right now for the closing stages of this race. How are you guys on fuel?
We're pretty close. We're actually trying to figure that out, and a lot's going to, I mean, every lap right here counts. And actually, we don't know quite yet.
At what point do you make that decision that you're going to come in for fuel?
All I can tell you is at the last possible second.
All right, clearly lots of brain power down here fueling the Red Dragon to get him to the checkered flag.
Yeah, well, I think they'd be taking a huge risk to stay out. And ultimately, to Chris's point, there's going to be potentially 5, 6 cars come in, which means when you roll back out, as you come in, if they do an efficient pit stop for Angelelli, he'll come back out on the racetrack probably 4th or 5th in line with fresh tires and a fast race car. So it's not over yet.
No.
He's just lost a lot of track position.
He's worried about a couple cars that won't stop, but he's going to have a fresh car underneath him.
It's far from over, and with championships on the line and the season running out, you've got to do what you can do to gain as many points as you can. A little over a half an hour, plenty of racing yet to come from here at Road America. Well, the cards were just played here at Road America with just about a half an hour to go. Under full course caution, the 99 came to the pit road. So did the 10, the 6, the 60. It was all about taking as little fuel as you needed.
Go. On your left.
You see one of the Velocity Worldwide crew members pushing the car so hard to try to get it out. He goes down, not hit by a car, but just pushing. Watch this.
Hard on his knee.
He had to go around that 44 Magnus car. May have cost him those precious cents there. We see the crew member go down. He is hurt.
Yep. That's what these guys will give. The guys in the car, yeah, they work, but that's how hard the crew members work as well. Let's head down to Chris.
Yeah, guys, it was John Fricka who was pushing the 10 car as they were trying to get out in front of the 99. We saw the 99 coming down pit lane, the 10 car taking a little bit more fuel than Alex Gurney at that point in time, and John pushing very hard at the back end of the car. Took a big dive on pit lane, and it looked like his knee gave out, so he's with some medical personnel right now as they're taking a look at that left knee, but he's in a lot of pain down here.
Wow, that's really too bad. But I tell you what happened there, Chris. I mean, the 10 car had really gapped the 99 car rolling into pit lane. He had about a 6 or 8 car length lead, so they must have taken at least a couple of seconds more fuel on board than the 99. So 2 questions there. Why did they need that much? And secondly, does the 99 have enough?
Which way do you go, you know?
Exactly.
They said they weren't going to pull the fuel until they were sure they had enough, but it's like you said, Calvin, you can look at it one of 2 ways.
Yeah. And these are time starts. Remember, they're not filling the fuel tank up because there's only 29 minutes on the board. They basically needed just a few gallons to make sure they can complete this length that's left in the race. So
they should have been really relatively close to the same lead time.
Yeah. And remember, the 10 car had, you know, several car length leads, so that was a big change, big delta there.
Now we'll get the wave buys and get things sorted out for the restart. It'll be interesting to see how they line up to restart. Speaking of restarting, let's do a recap and show you how it all went down from the drop of the green Dane Cameron and the yellow, red, and black prototype out in front in good battles in GT, but that was a problem. This is a big problem for Memo Rojas at the kink.
Huge moment there. Lucky to get away with this one with minimal body damage. You don't survive a moment at the kink very often, Dorsey. Then this was a power move here.
Big move for the overall lead. Gets by going into turn 1. This is a blow-up, the first of the BMW new engine 4.5 that had an internal engine failure.
And we said championship implications there. Look at this power move by Dane Cameron.
Tucks it to the inside. Just really on form this weekend, that whole group. Dane went to the front once again.
And good stuff in GT. Look at the 73, or is that the 44 Porsche around the outside. Then a problem for the 3, which turned into a problem for a lot of other cars because there was a lot of oil on the racetrack. Dane Cameron slowing on the right, and a lot of cars behind him spun.
Both those cars leaking oil. One blew an engine, the other had a gearbox problem, and then all the cars behind him
had nowhere to go.
Andy Lally went off in the grass.
Yeah, 2 cars in front of you dropping oil, no place to go. Here's the Continental Tire race summary. Brendan Hartley leading right now, and with now inside 30 minutes to go, how's he sitting?
Well, he's got 12 laps on the board. Many of those have been under yellow, so they're going to be getting pretty close. The longer this yellow continues, the more he may be squeezing into that pit window where he doesn't need a splash of fuel, and he has pace. He's one of the few drivers that's broken the 202 mark here today. Cameron has fastest lap at 201.5. Hartley's run a 201.9, so as we've seen so often this year, the young Kiwi has tremendous speed.
Well, Cal, it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on that 5 car. Joao Barbosa, that team going for their 3rd win this year. And we saw Christian Fittipaldi lock up earlier in the race. Talking with that team later on, he said, you know, we did some changes to the car, mainly aero changes last night. So both he and Bert Frizzell early in this race said that car, both the 5 and the 9, not stopping as well as it was on Thursday and Friday this week. So he's going to have to drive that car hard to get around Brendan Hartley. But how hard and not be locking up the tires. Jamie?
Well, I just checked in with BMW, with Turner Motorsports, and Will Turner told me that they are definitely good to go on fuel, and then he laughed and he said, well, ask me again in 23 minutes. So, Calvin, I know that you've been crunching the numbers up there. You said it was pretty risky. They seem semi-confident, but I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think it's still going to be tight. I mean, I think it's going to be really tight for those guys who have 11 laps since they last pitted with 25 minutes to go. But again, many of those were yellow, so you gain a lot of fuel there. You're not using as much, of course.
Chris, talking about the 2 Action Express cars, Dorsey, we talked about downforce, whether you want it or not, for straight line speed and for cornering speed. But the other thing that downforce does, it helps the car in braking, and it seems like the Action Express guys opted for straight line speed and maybe hurting on braking just a bit.
You need that braking potential to get underneath guys getting into corners to make these passes. The other thing that's going to be difficult is the time of day. Right now the sun's going to be really in these guys' eyes, and they got to do about a 24-minute sprint race. It's going to be tough conditions.
Tell you what, GT is going to be a barn burner as well. Patrick Long now behind the wheel of the 73 Park Place Porsche. You see it right there, and right behind him, a competitor he knows well from the American Le Mans Series, Bill Auberlen. So we're going to see another stellar Porsche BMW battle, this time in the Rolex Series, between two very, very good drivers.
Auberlen has had tremendous pace. That car's been quick all weekend long. Auberlen's fast lap at 10.2, 2:10.2. And Long's at 2:10.7, so that's half a second advantage.
But remember, Andy Lally said this is a Porsche kind of racetrack. Well, you know, the 73 is not the Porsche that he drives, but Patrick Long can certainly get the job done. The only American Porsche factory driver. We're about to find out because the lights are off on the safety car. The Camaro will be pulling to pit lane, and we'll be back to green, and there will be just about 24 minutes to go.
Remember, this racetrack just suffered an oil down, and I just saw some more oil down in turn 10, or Canada corner, I should say. And so watch this first lap.
I think Hartley's going to be good on fuel. I think he's going to make it now.
Well,
be a pain.
I think it's close enough that Peter Barron, there's no way he's going to bring him.
Got to go for it.
They'll leave him stranded out on the racetrack if need be. The field streaming back up, and the green is out. Hartley in that number 8 Starworks, the BMW in the back, the older BMW power plant, leads the field down to turn 1.
Well, we know it's quick. Cameron had the old BMW
exactly.
too, and he led the field for most of the day.
Both Action Express cars line up behind him. They are running second and third right now. Hartley in the white number 8 leads down to turn 3. Pruitt already looking to the inside back there in the blue and white 01.
Then the 2 Shank cars. I'm surprised that maybe Mike Shank didn't gamble a little bit with one of those cars and give them better track position, but they decided to pit also.
I mean, effectively from the red 99 back, those cars just pitted, and now Mike Shank entering side by side down into turn 5. 60 to the inside. Negre trying to get the best of Wilson. Side by side as they run up the hill. Wilson gives way. Negre takes the position.
And look at that Pat Long right there. Auberlen all over him.
Yeah, Auberlen's going to be pushing hard. Remember, he's not in the thick of a championship battle. He's just out for race wins these days. Wants to celebrate that 500th professional start here this weekend.
Good stuff down the hill now. Auberlen not close enough to get the job done, but the BMW has been spectacular through the carousel today.
Maxime Martin up to 3rd spot. He is a stud. The guy from Belgium running full-time in the American Le Mans Series with the Ray Hall team this year.
Justin Wilson getting a furrowed black, so he did something nasty to someone and is being warned about it.
And I didn't see that there. It might have been on the start, but just a warning to let him know. But look at Patrick Long. We talked about how good Auberlen had been through the carousel, but perhaps tires just coming up to temperature a little better on the Porsche, because Patrick Long has put in one heck of an opening lap here on this restart.
He is on it. He is determined. Indy was really their race. They had the lead. They were in control of that race. Then a broken linkage cost them that win dearly. They wanted to climb the top step and kiss the bricks at Indianapolis, but they're coming back for redemption here. Patrick Lindsay putting a superb first stint, running as high as the 2nd spot. Pat Long's taken over, wants to keep her at the front.
And remember, Porsche yet to win. That's unheard of in road racing nowadays.
Understand that the furrowed black on the 6 was for a little tussle with the 01 before the caution.
Oh.
So just letting him know, reminding him. And look at Patrick Long. Impressive. Almost 3/4 of a second in one lap. Impressive stuff. Auberlen will not stand for that. In fact, looks like he closes up at the end of the front straightaway.
I wonder if the Porsche doesn't come into its tire happy spot quicker maybe than the BMW on that first lap.
Top 5 here in GT right now are the guys who did not pit under this last caution. So Alessandro Balzan, who's 3rd in the championship right now, he runs 6th. He is the first of the guys, along with Lally, Lazzaro, and the rest, who made a pit stop and topped up with fuel.
First Ferrari in the order that you saw was the 61 of Jeff Siegel, running in the 4th position. The 57, Robin Liddell in the Camaro from Stevenson Motorsport. You see it right there. Up to 5th. It's going to be a GT fight all the way to the checkered flag, and we'll bring it to you live right here on Speed. Plenty more to come from Road America. Brendan Hartley leading overall. Two of the best GT drivers in the world doing battle right now here at Road America in the Rolex Sports Car Series. Patrick Long in the silver and white Park Place Porsche out in front of GT. Bill Auberlen in the first of the blue and yellow BMWs right behind, giving chase. 17 minutes to go. 17 minutes to go here in round 9, and Auberlen is on a charge. Chris?
Yeah, it looks like Bill Auberlen catching up the back of that 73 car. And Dorsey, you said it just a few minutes ago, that first lap after green, the 73 really pulling away, and you were speculating that maybe those tires just coming up to temp, and that's something that I talked to Pat Long about this weekend. He said that car does come up to speed very quick, but the problem is it kind of blows through that temperature window pretty quick, and I think that's what we're seeing right now, is now that all the tires are up to temp, that Porsche probably going to start to degrade on tire wear a little bit quicker than the balance of that BMW.
This racetrack is distinctively different on both ends. This end of the racetrack is where Bill Auberlen's so strong. You see him right there getting around the outside, goes wide. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold that off.
Yeah, Pat Long had to give him a bit of room there because he could see that Bill Auberlen was coming either way. Either give me some room or we're going to tap. And Maxime Martin is right in the picture there as well. He is a stud in the GT. You talk about two of the best in the world. We've got three of the best in the world right there, as Maxime Martin is now starting to get in a groove and follow the wheel tracks of those two guys who know this racetrack a lot better than he does.
This being said, Pat Long's car is going to be better past this corner.
Here we go.
Down the inside. I was going to say Auberlen had a run off of turn 3 and just a stellar job of outbraking Patrick Long down into turn 5. Now, what does Martin have?
Well, Pat Long, this is where his car, the Porsche, is good between the two BMWs. He might be able to even get by Bill. I'm not sure, but the Porsche is strong right through this part of the racetrack.
Maxime Martin, what he has is a similar car to Bill Auberlen, so you know, he's learning this racetrack rapidly this weekend. He learns racetracks very quick. Will Turner was really impressed with him when he showed up at Daytona to run the 24-hour race with him. He said within 2 laps, he was on the pace. He said, I was absolutely blown away. More importantly, Bill Auberlen was blown away. He said, he's my teammate for the year. I've got a good one.
Porsche very good through the carousel, actually closes up on Auberlen. This experience is also going to be good for Maxime Martin for tomorrow's American Le Mans Series event. He's getting miles at a racetrack that he has not been to. Long, is he close enough? I don't think he can get a draft down into the braking zone of Canada Corner.
Sadly, I think the Porsche probably loses a lot of front grip when it's behind the big BMW with the air being gone off the nose of that car.
And again, fuel mileage is still a little bit of a question mark on these top 4 cars in the GT ranks. Alessandro Balzan, who runs 5th right now, he is good to go on fuel. For the top 4, still a slight question mark. They may be able to squeak it, but it's going to be tight.
And a question mark for Brendan Hartley as well. He right now has a little over a 1.5 seconds in hand over Joao Barbosa in the number 5, but will he have the fuel to make it to the checkered flag? And there's Hartley through turn 5.
I think he's going to be okay. I spoke to him this weekend. He said, I had a little bit of fun this week. He said, I went to Slinger Speedway, a 1/4 mile track in Milwaukee. He ran with the Wilkie team, a 400 horsepower midget. He said it was unbelievable. Just loves to drive race cars.
And he does a spectacular job. Right behind, though, what does Barbosa have for him? Hartley just a tick faster on these last couple of laps, has been able to eke out a little bit, but it shouldn't take too much longer before they get into some traffic, and that traffic can be the difference. Under 15 minutes to go.
Hats off to the Action Express boys in terms of grinding away. They had a couple of bad breaks, the flat spot, the refueling issue with the 5 car, but it came their way a little bit. And sometimes when you're off strategy a little bit, it can come your way. We saw the frustration for Wayne Taylor. It's worked out for Action Express.
And Lazzaro in the number 69 Ferrari just passed Robin Liddell in the Camaro. The number 4 Daytona prototype with Sebastian Bourdais in there as well.
And that's significant because both of those cars are very much in the thick of that GT points battle.
And Bourdais back on the lead lap in Daytona prototype.
Been a long day for him, over 2 hours behind the wheel right now. Had so much success here in the Champ Car days, had a win, 3 other podiums. Loves this racetrack. Of course, the team that he ran with back then was Newman Haas, which is the locally based IndyCar team at that time.
Brendan Hartley looking really good up front. It's getting a stack up back here around 4th position.
He's continuing to pull out his lead. It was 1.7, now 1.9, so he's eking out a little bit at a time, and if he's good on fuel, that is not good news for Joao Barbosa and the rest of the field giving chase.
Yeah, Hartley had half a second basically on the majority of the field on that last lap, so he's got the pace certainly. The question mark is fuel, but I think he's going to be okay. Hard to judge the calculations when you're running under yellow, how much fuel save you are getting. But I think the numbers are working in his favor.
Watch for Alex Gurney right here, see if he pops on the Gainesville Red Dragons. Really trying to apply pressure right now to Brian Frizzell.
But he's got to be careful. He's got to be thinking big picture as well. They're in prime position here to take advantage of the 2-car with their engine blow up here today. The Gainesville team, if they finish in the top 4 here today, the position he currently runs, he will assume the championship lead.
Oh, and he drops the wheel. This could be it.
Oh, this could be the move here. Coming down into turn 8, you saw Frizzell with a problem, dropping the wheel at the exit.
Will he have grip here? He got those left sides off. It's going to give him a bit of a problem here as he loads that left side in the carousel.
Well, you'd want to work around the inside of them if you could, thinking that the outside tires are going to not grip quite as much.
And Gurney knows the car directly behind him is behind him in the championship. If he stays in front, he'll continue to make ground. The 57 now in the pits.
Robin Liddell complaining that probably something wrong with the left rear. He said the wheel is just moving around quite a bit. Oh, it looks like right rear, the team. A little bit of miscommunication down here. So this team, 4 points back in this GT championship. Big hit today with this problem.
And a large piece of debris in the back straight just before the braking zone for Canada Corner.
Feast or famine for Stevenson. 4 wins in a second spot, then disasters in the others, it seems.
Right in the middle of the road, big chunk of body work. If somebody doesn't hit it, will be a real problem by the time these prototypes get there.
Let's take a look. Here's the 9 through turn 7. Just drops that wheel.
Controls it nicely. A little bit of a mistake there, but Brian Frizzell controls it nicely and keeps his composure, more importantly. Be so easy to overcharge turn 8 after a moment like that, Dorsey.
That corner drops off and you just pick up understeer. Here are all the GT cars moving around that piece of debris.
So let's listen into Pat Long and his engineer.
We are good. We're having a great time watching it.
Assume that is...
We might still have some for, but get on the Grand Am about the sister car and tell them to stay out.
Why does he want the sister car to stay out? Maxime Martin wants the position.
He's just like,
not just going to give it up.
He probably doesn't know that that's her position.
I have to think the question was, am I good on fuel?
Still questions yet to be answered here with just over 10 minutes to go. Does Brendan Hartley have the fuel? Does Patrick Long have the tires and the ponies to catch back up with Bill Auberland? We'll find out. Even Will Turner doesn't know. He's biting his nails. We'll be back to Road America. Kansas Speedway, it's up next, and it's next weekend. The series beginning to wind down, and we're going to go from a 4-mile natural terrain road course to Kansas Speedway, and Hartley gets a piece of the debris.
Wow, he tucked it to the inside there. That was awfully tight.
I think it was just wind. I don't think he actually touched it. I think he saw it the last minute. I told you about the sun being in your eyes this time of day. There was a prime example right there. He didn't see that till it was on him.
And this is where the crew needs to remind the driver. You can get so much in the zone and you suddenly forget about that. You're thinking about hitting your marks, your lap time, the gap behind you, and whoa, I forgot that was their last time. And you just need those little reminders on the radio.
Kansas Speedway, like I said, up next. It'll be on Fox Sports 2 Live. You can catch it there. The 94 still out in front of GT, Jamie.
Well, there is so much excitement and nervousness down here at Turner Motorsports that the pit cart is actually shaking. These guys are twitching. Will, how nerve-wracking is this for you as you're watching on?
Yeah, so, you know, we came here, we knew all the work that we put into the cars. We knew that our cars would be good because this is the R tire. The last couple of racetracks we were at were the I tire. For some reason, they don't like our car as much as they like other people's cars. But right now, Bill Auberland and Maxime Martin are just doing an awesome job. So I'm hoping that we don't run out of fuel on the last lap because it's going to come down to the last lap. It's what my strategist Don Salama is telling me right there.
These guys are going for it.
Well, everybody's going for it, and we were talking about championship implications. There's the 99. They were in the middle of a fight in Daytona Prototype, and they were in front of the 10. That was big, but then this.
Pops down to the inside of turn 1, high-speed corner.
Oh, that was tight. It was tight, too tight.
pinches it down, and around the 99 Red Dragon goes.
And as we said earlier, top 4 here today would give them the championship lead. So you got to think big picture. Gurney going for that podium run, and maybe a run at the leaders in the last 6 minutes of this race. May have thrown away a handful of points with that move.
You try to get inside a guy and you're not clearly there. You're trying to turn the car and brake it because it's quite high speed. You're coming off very long straightaway, and it pinched the nose down. The back got loose.
Frizzell didn't make it easy, but he shouldn't make it easy. He's fighting hard for a podium finish. The boys have performed well this year, the two brothers, but they haven't seen the results they've been hoping for. They're looking for a podium here. He's not going to give it to Gurney easy.
Well, it was interesting. I couldn't tell if there was even light contact. It was hard to tell. It was very tight down in turn 1. But what matters is the 99 has now dropped back. The 10 now has the opportunity to gain in the championship. Angelelli pushing forward.
You also lose aero when you make that move and you drive down underneath somebody in turn 1, and the cars get really close together. It pulls all the aero off your car. It takes the downforce right away.
And then if you have to slow down a little bit more, you can't carry the speed through. You're throwing the weight transfer to the front of the car, which pins the nose even more. So if you get it, you're going to go through and clear sailing. But if not, it gets ugly in a hurry.
Here's the battle for the lead in GX. There's the number 38 Porsche, doing all they can to close the gap to the Sky Active Mazda in front, the 00.
Spencer Pumpelly actually leads this, so this would be to put a lap on the 00.
Looks like that
doesn't need to do it on with only a lap or 2 to go, does he?
Actually, something happened here. There's been a change of position there. Miller comes across the line in the lead, so Pumpelly did lose the lead on that lap. So Joel Miller has taken the lead in the GX class. That changed on that last lap. Looking at timing and scoring, I thought Pumpelly was coming up to put a lap on them. That is not the case.
Boy, Bill Oberlin is gone. He has left Patrick Long, and what he's left Patrick Long with is a mirror full of Maxime Martin.
But again, we're looking at a fuel situation wherein that lead car with Oberlin could run out of fuel on the last lap. So this could be for the win.
Patrick Long in the 73 Porsche, Maxime Martin right behind in the yellow and blue BMW, the 93, the 94 BMW. Just leaving your shot is Bill Oberlin, leading in GT, but you said it, Dorsey. Does he have enough fuel? The team doesn't even know. Brendan Hartley continuing to pull out his overall lead, now 2.5 seconds over Joao Barbosa.
I love that shot coming off of turn 1, though, Dorsey. Pat Long just power drifting that Porsche all the way out, using every inch of tarmac available.
Don Slaughter, the strategist for Turner Motorsports up there, you know, if he says it's going to be down the last lap, he does his math real well. He knows what he's doing. He's a really good strategist. So, I mean, if he says it's going to be close, it will be.
He is one of the smartest guys down there on pit lane making the calls, and Will Turner just hands it over to him. He lets Don make all of those calls.
Good driver as well when need be. When he needs to get behind the wheel, he can do it.
White flag next time by. How much fuel's in the tank for Brendan Hartley, Chris?
Well, it can't be much because the team just told him, go to reserve, go to reserve. Now, a lot of times they will do that because they don't want the car to stumble on the racetrack, so they might be going a little bit early. But really, everybody just biting their nails down here. Peter Barron, talk about the emotional swings he's seen today, the problems with the 2 car. He was up in arms about that about 45 minutes ago. Right now, he's hoping his 8 car wins.
4-mile racetrack in reserve, you normally only get 1 lap of 4 miles. If he really needs to go to it right now, he could be in trouble.
That would be 2 laps.
Yeah, he's got 2 to do.
I can do this math.
Looking at the map, though, he's got 23 laps on the board. If you say 2 minutes a lap, even under green, that's 46 minutes and 2 minutes left in this race. So that's only 3 minutes outside of their fuel window. Remember, a bunch of that was under yellow, so there should have been a massive saving.
There should be fuel.
I think he's okay. I think he's going to squeak it.
If not, Joao Barbosa is there ready to take the victory. That would be another win for Action Express. That would be huge. And then you've got this tussle going along back here. The 01 not having the day they wanted. You heard from the beginning the car wasn't particularly good. Then Memo Rojas with his problems in the kink.
But remember, with the 2 car having problems, they're going to have a 14th place finish here today. It's going to bring everyone back into the mix. We looked at the points at the beginning of the show. It's going to really tighten up here tonight.
And that's what we talked about at the beginning of the show, that if any of these lead guys have a bad day, it's going to put this thing right back like we started at the beginning of the year.
Oh, look at that. That's from onboard the 6th.
That was a big hit.
That looked like Negri forcing his way through, was it, on Angelelli? Looked like it was, and there's Hartley up the front straightaway, climbing the hill underneath the Caterpillar Bridge, looking for the white flag. He gets it.
White flag is out. White flag is out. This is the final lap.
4 long miles.
4 long miles, and Joao Barbosa comes across just behind, saying, I've got fuel, I hope he doesn't.
Look at this. Angelelli drops all the way down to 7th. The car that was leading this race before we saw that yellow with 40 minutes to go drops from the lead, maybe down to a 7th place finish.
Bill Auberlen now through turn 8 and into the carousel. He'll have this lap and one more. Does he have the fuel?
Beautiful drive by Bill here this weekend. Paul Dallalana did a great job in qualifying and ran some really good laps at the beginning of this race in his first stint, but Billy Boy was on a mission here this weekend.
Oh, did it just stumble? To me, I just heard a bobble right there.
Wow. Well, he's probably a confidence lift for the king, possibly. Let's hope it's that at least. I was lifted there.
That's why you're still here.
Exactly. I retired early.
I used the brake and went down a gear or two.
Yeah, you were flat, but in third.
Yeah, flat in third, absolutely. Through Canada corner, Maxime Martin has dropped back just a little bit from Patrick Long, and it looks to me like Long closing back in on Auberlen. Perhaps Auberlen beginning to try to save what little fuel he can. It doesn't matter how much you win by as long as you get there.
I heard the engine sputter. I know that sound.
And remember, the checkered flags are going to come out for the overall leader, so these guys have another complete lap to go. Here we see Brendan Hartley down in the Canada corner.
Into Canada corner for the last time. He'll come out of here, climb the hill all the way to the start-finish line through 13. 94 on the radio. Will Turner and the team conserve fuel, Bill. Oh, and by the way, win this thing. So Auberlen has his hands full trying to conserve fuel. Keep Patrick Long behind. Brendan Hartley up the hill looking for the checkered flag. Brendan Hartley, Starworks win at Road America.
Wow, what a day for that team. The up and downs of racing, the championship leader. Don't finish, that is beautiful. Scott Mayer from Racine, Wisconsin, teaming with Brendan Hartley. He'll be pumped up.
Scott gets a local victory, absolutely fantastic. The Royal Purple outperformer of the race has to go to Brendan Hartley. Congratulations on the victory. Congratulations on the award. Congratulations to Starworks. That was fantastic. But there is a race yet to be settled. It's in GT. Auberlen now working his way around the final lap through the carousel.
And in fuel conservation mode, he's going
GX leader right behind him. Patrick Long closing in. How much fuel does Auberlen have left?
You talked about it, Dorsey. It's an uphill run from Canada corner all the way to that stripe. We've seen many cars over the years in sports car racing and IndyCar run out between Canada corner and the start-finish line. Can Billy hang on?
Well, normally this deficit would be too much, but not under these conditions. Remember, Bill's at full conservation. He's got to climb this hill. He's into the climb now, but if it stumbles, Pat Long's going to be there. And here he comes.
Yep, Patrick Long charging through turn 14. Auberlen out of it first, making the run up the hill. So far, so good. If he can just get to the top, he'll claim the victory. He does. Bill Auberlen and Will Turner win GT at Road America.
What a day for BMW. They win both classes here at Road America.
Tristan Nunez wins in GX. A great Rolex Sports Car Series event from Road America. We'll be back to champagne and celebration. Speed's coverage of the Rolex Sports Car Series is presented on Speed by Rolex. Brought to you in part by Continental Tire, innovative technology, driving confidence. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. What a great run in both Daytona Prototype, GT, and GX. Let's check in with Jamie on our GT winners.
Well, I'm not sure. I've never seen a more nervous group of crew members, but I've never seen a more nervous driver watching on at the end of the race. Paul Dallalana, what was that like when you were waiting for Bill to take the checkered flag?
Well, I've got to tell you, Don called an interesting strategy, and there was a lot of debate on this side of the wall, which is probably not fair to Don. He's been a great strategist for a long time, but obviously we needed every drop in the tank, and we didn't even have enough for an in-lap, so you know, it was the right call, but just. And you know, obviously, anytime you can put a Turner BMW in Bill Auberlin's hands, you've got a chance to win. We knew he had a strong car today, but we also knew that it was going to be a strategy race and come right down to fuel economy more than, you know, pure speed. And as was last year's, that's exactly what happened. We just got the right side of it today.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And how much fuel didn't he have? Maxime Martin is having to push him back in. He ran out. Daytona prototype, we talked about the points all day long, and look at how they ended up. Dial and Popoff still on top. I can't imagine that.
That's amazing. They came in with a 10-point lead. It's cut down to 4, but look at this. Pruitt and Rojas now only 14 points out of the lead after not a great day.
Unbelievable. John Potter, Andy Lally stay on top of the GT points. For our winner in Daytona prototype, here's Chris Neville.
And Brendan Hartley hopping out of the 8 car. None of his team down here to celebrate with him yet. He's celebrating by himself, though. What a great drive by these guys. Brendan, take your helmet off there, bud. Take your helmet off. What a great drive. You guys had great strategy call, gave you the lead, and you kept it out front.
Yeah, the car was really, really good today. This was quite an emotional win. You know, we lost the win back in February.
Good dog.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Getting a big hug there by his teammate, Scott Mayer.
This one really meant a lot to me. It's been a while since I won a race, and it meant so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and talk about that emotion from Coda earlier in the year, Circuit of the Americas, where you were leading and you gave up that lead.
Yeah, you know, back then I had tears, and these were tears of joy today, so it definitely made up for it. So just a massive thanks to everyone in Starworks. It's been a journey of a year, and all these tracks are new to me, and I'm loving racing in the US, and yeah, thank you.
Well, we love having you here. Congratulations, guys.
He's got a lot of talent.
Yeah, he
does have.
The Royal Purple outperformer of the race. We said it earlier, Brendan Hartley. Exceptional drive, and congratulations to Starworks for their victory. And Brendan Hartley, tremendous drive. It was a crazy roller coaster day as far as all the points went back and forth, and never thought it would end up this way. You said it at the beginning of the show, but the people at the top of the points never want to seem to stay there.
It's amazing, and we saw some brilliant performances, though, today, Dorsey. That Salins team really knocked it out of the park.
That's a disappointment for those guys. We've got 3 races to go. This championship is wide open. I can't even begin to tell you what's going to happen at Kansas City when we get there next week.
It's going to be exciting. That is for sure. For Jamie Howe, Chris Neville, Dorsey Schrader, Calvin Fish, I'm Brian Till. Thanks for joining us today, and make sure you join us when the Rolex Sports Car Series heads to Kansas. We'll see you then. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye from America's Dairyland. We'll see you next time.